lost their last 5, and Colin, believe it or not, their last win February 20th against the Fordham Rams back down in North Carolina. And Fordham not so hot either. Losers of their last 3 and 7 of their last 9. Davidson all-time has dominated the all-time series 16-3. And this year, as we said, 2-0 in the season series. It's Davidson and Fordham. But before we tip in this win-or-go-home matchup, we sat down with Fordham men's basketball head coach Keith Urgo. Have a listen. So, Coach, the defense, trending in the right direction. 40 minutes of solid defense against UMass, as you said. You also hold URI to 58 points. You take 17 more shots than them. And as you said in your post-game press conference, that's a game you're supposed to win, quoting you. And, you know, the defense trending in the right direction over the last 2 games. But what's it going to take against a team you've already played twice to just get a more efficient clip, offensively speaking?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just takes guys making shots. They're getting confident. And you watch the film, we got a million open shots, wide open shots, right? A lot of very good shots. Some there were some tough, difficult shots, but, a lot of wide open shots. Sometimes you just need to make a free throw to get yourself going. And unfortunately, we couldn't do that. So, but defense travels. Defense gives you an opportunity on the road at UMass against the top 4 team in this league with a chance to win. Defense holds Rhode Island to 22 points and a half. 58, well under their average, both UMass and Rhode Island. I mean, we had 17 offensive rebounds against UMass. We had 11 offensive rebounds against Rhode Island. We forced more turnovers, UMass and Rhode Island, than we had. We had more assists. So it's sometimes it just comes down to making some shots, feeling good, getting hot at the right time. But no matter what you do, you have to defend and rebound. That gives you an opportunity in games, and we're doing that, and it's a matter of time before we catch fire. And if we do, look out.
You guys are one of the best teams in the A10 in terms of offensive rebounds. How important could that be come tournament time, come this first round matchup against Davidson, when you can generate second, even third opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, because what it does, it a lot of times it puts other teams in foul trouble as much as it gives you an opportunity to score multiple times. The funny part is
And welcome back inside Barclays Center. It's the Fordham Rams and the Davidson Wildcats. Fordham the 12 seed, Davidson the 13. It's day 1 action here at the Atlantic 10 tournament. So let's take a look at those starters for the visiting Davidson Wildcats. Making the trip up from North Carolina, their point guard Grant Huffman, 24, a career high against Fordham in January. And his feisty veteran running mate in the backcourt, Connor Cochera, another big guard at 6'5", 205, and then the big guys down low. Bobby Durkin, 6'7". He's awfully long, but he can also shoot the rock. 78 threes last year as a senior in high school, and now as a freshman, a regular starter in the Atlantic 10. And then down low, the Twin Towers, pair of 6'10" bodies, Reed Bailey and Sean Logan. We had the injury of David Skogman, so the sophomore Sean Logan in the center circle with Abdu Simbila. The starting 5 for Fordham in the whites, Antrell Charlton, the freshman Jameer Tripp, Abdu Simbila, Kyle Rose making his 140th appearance as a Fordham Ram, and Ramad Dean. It's the Fordham Rams moving left to right, and the Davidson Wildcats moving right to left. Simbila taps it back to Charlton, and Fordham the first possession of the first round. Here's Kyle Rose, top of the key. Hands out for the curling Antrell Charlton. Charlton over the Tripp on the right arc. Kicks it back up top over to Kyle Rose. Left arc 3, in and out from the left side. Ramad Dean taps it back out of play on the near sideline. 0-0, 20 seconds in. Fordham comes up empty on their first possession.
And right off the bat, Antrell Charlton, running point for Fordham. Remember, Miles, he is a pure point guard by definition. He's a pass-first player. He's going to be crucial to the Fordham attack today.
Here's Grant Huffman, angles his way to the left side perimeter, leans in on Kyle Rose, 2 dribbles with the left hand, picks it up and finds his man down in the left corner. Reed Bailey swings it up top for Cochera. Cochera, top of the circle, hesitates on Charlton and finds Bailey. Left arc, cuts inside with 10 to shoot. Back to the basket on the A10 logo, rises with the right hand, much too strong. Abdu Simbila clears the Fordham board, ahead to Kyle Rose. Left side forecourt, 0-0, 50 seconds in. Here's Tripp, left arc. He's got his pocket picked. Reed Bailey loses control, and Tripp steals it right back. Down low, Simbila. Simbila with the righty lay from the left block. And Fordham on the board first, 2-0, $1.07 in.
Precise awareness from Simbila that time, just to cut back towards the basket and receive the pass.
Here's Logan, the big at 6'10", angles his way to the right side and hands off for Durkin. Durkin, the freshman, caught on the left elbow. We got the foul on the floor. And Ramad Dean, the guilty party, too aggressive on the reach. That's his first of the day. 18:41 first half. It's a 2-0 Fordham lead.
Davidson trying to find some type of offensive rhythm. Fordham has done a good job of guarding the paint thus far. That's going to be critical for them. Davidson out-physiqued them the first 2 times they played them over the course of the regular season.
They did, and that's their MO, that toughness, right? So surprising to say the least. Here's Huffman, top of the circle, crosses right to left and finds Bailey. Left side dribble drive, Bailey, and it's swatted back by Simbila. Kyle Rose diving for it. Slipped on some moisture, and his right foot went out of bounds as he dove for the basketball. So Davidson will retain the possession. Unfortunate break there for Fordham. It's 2-0 Rams. Still Davidson ball. 4 seconds to shoot. 18:24 first half.
Rose trying to make the hustle play. That's his bread and butter, Miles.
Huffman gets it back on the right arc. That'll be a shot clock violation. Or we'll say out of bounds as the shot clock expired. It's about 1 second on the shot clock. They'll retain here with Davidson near side inbound. Bobby Durkin's the man. 18:21 first half, just 1 second to shoot. We'll see if Durkin can get the shot out, finds Bailey, and that'll be a shot clock violation at the top of the circle. Couldn't get the 3 off, and with 18:20 first half, Fordham still a 2-0 lead with the basketball.
And Bailey just took too much time getting that shot off. You have to be quicker than that. You have to have more awareness of where you are on the shot clock and the game clock.
So in the backcourt, Ramad Dean inbounds to Antrell Charlton over the head of our near side referee, and Charlton into the offensive half. Hands off for the curling Kyle Rose, flips it into the hands of Tripp. Tripp hands off for Charlton, moving it around the perimeter now. Charlton back to Dean. Dean fakes the 3 at the top of the circle, angles over to Tripp. Tripp on the right arc, drills behind the back, stagnant right now. Here's Simbila on the left side, dribble drive, and it's swatted back. Out of bounds, last touch, Sean Logan, the sophomore at 6'10", with the rejection. But he'll stay here with the Fordham Rams, 8 seconds to shoot. 17:58 in the first half.
And over the last couple games, we've seen Abdou Simbila become more aggressive with the basketball. He's now actively looking to score. That's a bit of a change for him.
Charlton fade from 15, no good off the left side of the iron. And Colin, important to mention, Kyle Rose and Antrell Charlton as a pair were 2 for 17 on senior day, just ice cold. 0-2 right now as a team. Here's Kochera, top of the circle, angles his way over to the right arc, crosses right to left on Simbila and kicks it out for his man in Durkin. Catches on the right perimeter and steps out of bounds on the right side with the back of his right heel. And it's going back the Fordham Rams direction. 17:39 to play in our first half. Still 2-0 Fordham.
Wildcats with a supremely sloppy start on the offensive end of the court. Uncharacteristic for them. They don't score a lot of points, but they seem to play more efficiently on a typical day.
Antrell Charlton, the knee-high dribble with the left hand as he crosses the A10 logo here at Barclays. Charlton angles his way left side perimeter, kicks it up top. Dean over to Tripp on the right side. 18 seconds to shoot. Tripp draws 2 defenders, cuts inside, loses the ball, and kicks it up top for Rose. Rose, 12 to shoot. Dribble drive, the righty floater, no good off the left side. Simbila, the offensive rebound down low. Aggressive with the right hand, and he loses control. Sean Logan, the loose ball rebound, ahead to Grant Huffman. Davidson the possession, 17 minutes to play in our first half. Still 2-0 Fordham. Here's Bobby Durkin outside on the left arc, the knee-high dribble with the left hand. Back to the basket now, he'll kick it up top for Bailey. Bailey hesitates at the top of the key now, knee-high dribble. Down the left side of the lane, it's poked free, last touch Bailey. And Kyle Rose gets the swat out of play off the knee, so last touch Davidson. An interesting point there. Kyle Rose was the A10 preseason all-defensive team selection, and he also was announced today as part of the regular season team.
He certainly backed up his play over the course of the season, Miles. He was a great perimeter defender last season. He took a step forward this season. Fordham's leading man in terms of steals per game. Without him, their perimeter defense would be suspect at best. He brings them to a new dimension, that department.
Couple substitutions here. Josh Rivera and Elijah Gray on for the first time. It's a big-bodied lineup. Antrell Charlton outside on the left arc. He catches the pass and immediately loses the dribble off of his own leg on the right side perimeter, tapping his chest, and the veteran turns it over into the hands of the Davidson Wildcats in red. A low-scoring ball game, 2-0 Fordham. 16:41 first half.
And you have to wonder, Miles, perhaps some tournament jitters going on. The lights a little bit brighter than usual here at the Barclays Center.
They sure are here on this NBA-type venue, Colin. Here's Bailey at the top of the circle, back to the basket, hands off for Cochera. Cochera swings it over left side, Huffman. Huffman hesitates on the left arc and cuts in on Kyle Rose. Fakes it from the A10 and dumps it down low for the big man, and Sean Logan kisses it off the glass with the left hand. It's 2-2. JaVale Medora has just checked into this ball game. He'll walk it up now, pushing left to right for the Fordham Rams in their whites. Kyle Rose, top of the key, swings it over to Medora. Medora on the left arc, hesitates, knee-high dribble with the left hand. Dribble drive from the left side, gets caught up and finds Rose. Rose, top of the key, no good on the three-pointer off the right side of the iron. Kuchera, the rebound here for Davidson. All knotted up at 2 apiece, 15:52 and ticking in our first 20. Here's Sean Logan. The sophomore at 6'10", bounces down low for Bailey, right side mid-post. Back to the basket, in on Josh Rivera, rises with the right hand in the floater. Around and out, no good. Kyle Rose snatches up the rebound and gets it ahead to Medora on the chest pass. Here's Medora, crosses right to left in on Bailey, dribble drive down the right side of the lane. A pretty move, and it's swatted out of play. Sean Logan, the help defense. Last touch, Davidson on the baseline. And a defensive affair here early on day one of the Atlantic 10 tournament. 2-2 with 15:26 to play in our first 20.
JaVale Medora driving towards the basket, looking for some room to work with. Had 10 points on a 3 of 7 clip last time out against the University of Rhode Island. Fordham's going to need him to be just that aggressive. You never know when you're going to be able to draw contact against a bigger, longer, lankier Davidson squad.
So Davidson picks up the block. Last touch, Wildcats. He'll stay here with the Fordham Rams in the offensive set. It's 2-2 here from Barclays, but with 15:26 to play in our first half, we'll take a quick break. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Julia Moss, one of the hosts of WFUV's women's sports podcast, All In. Join us each week as we break down everything from the WNBA, women's collegiate sports, the NWSL, and so much more. We're also joined by recurring hosts including Maddie Bamonte, Taylor Masetta, Sam Bohr, and Annabelle Watson. All In is a production of WFUV Sports.
And welcome back in courtside here at the Barclays Center. Underway in day one of Atlantic 10 tournament action. Davidson 2, Fordham 2, and what's been an awfully low-scoring affair here. 15:26 to play in our first half. But we're going to be now joined by the third member of our crew, our sideline reporter, Kris Pursiainen.
Thanks, Miles. For Fordham this season, they're 0-2 against the Davidson Wildcats, as you guys mentioned, and they're 1-11 in their last 12 against this squad from North Carolina. If they're going to try and put an end to that trend and dig their heels in the sand, as we've said all season, Miles, they're going to need to be tough, nasty, and physical against Davidson. They've started out with some good blocks and high-energy plays, but you want to see those attitude ratings go up, the deflections, the loose balls, diving on the ground, see if this bench unit can give them some much-needed momentum here in what's far from a barn burner early.
Absolutely right, Kris, and glad you touched on that record as of late between the Davidson Wildcats and the Fordham Rams. Fordham 1-11 in their last 12 meetings against this squad, and Davidson really known to be a reliable mid-major across, outside of the Atlantic 10, across mid-major ball.
And Fordham lost each of those regular season games against Davidson by 10 points or more, Miles. So certainly some work to do if they want to best the Cats today.
So back underway. Here's Medora from 15. He fades, no good, strong off the heel. Rivera taps the rebound into the hands of Cochera. Davidson the rebound, pushing right to left. Spindone, the pass picked off right into the hands of Richardson. The masked Will Richardson this time pushes ahead in the offensive set. Finds Medora, top of the key three, no good. Once again, strong off the heel. Grant Huffman rises and pulls down the Davidson rebound. 2-2 is the score, 15 minutes flat. Here's Cochera, left side three, steps into it and cans it right there. First three of the day out of the right hand to Connor Cochera. It's a 5-2 Davidson lead. Kyle Rose now angles up top for Will Richardson. Richardson over to Medora on the left arc, takes the Rivera screen down, dishes it up top for Rivera. Rivera over to Richardson, 15 to shoot. Picks up the dribble and kicks it up top for Josh Rivera. Over to Kyle Rose, left arc, dribble drive down left side on Connor Cochero, rises and he's too strong, out of control, and Spundone rips away the Davidson board. 5-2 with the basketball. Here's Davidson in the reds. Reed Bailey back to the basket, left side short corner, up top for Cochero. He'll pop the triple, no good, way strong off the window. And last touch here will be Sean Logan as it taps out a play on the near sideline. Going back Fordham's way, it's 5-2 Davidson. 14-14 first half.
Davidson starting to get some better ball movement. Connor Cochero with the made three. He's averaging 14.2 points per game in conference play, shooting roughly 48% during that stretch. You don't want him to get hot, Miles, especially with a big game like this.
Will Richardson bounces it over to Antrell Charlton on the left arc. Inside now for Josh Rivera. Rivera catches and he's got the finish with the right hand from the left block. A pretty cut, and Fordham back within just one. It's 5-4 Wildcats. Here Grant Huffman with the ball, 13:52 and ticking in the first half. Spundone catch and shoot three from the right arc, well short there. Will Richardson, the rebound, and he'll look to do it all himself. Dribble drive down the right side of the lane, the reverse lay in and out with the right hand. Deeply down and deeply out there. Hunter Adam, the rebound for Davidson. Up top now for Grant Huffman. Huffman lets the play develop and kicks it over to Spundone. Catch and dribble down in the left corner, and he dumps it down low for Hunter Adam. Wide open under the cup. Davidson an easy one there. 7-4 the lead.
Pursiainen with a nice move off the pick makes the elite dish. Those are the type of assists that win college playoff games.
13-12 and ticking. Here's Antrell Charlton on the right arc. Dribble drive from the right side, dumps it down low for Rivera. Rivera to reset from the right perimeter. He'll drive and they'll attack and he'll rise with the left hand. Josh Rivera headed to the free throw line for two. So that'll stop the clock with 13:03 to play in our first half. Davidson on top, 7-4.
Josh Rivera playing with a little bit more aggression offensively today than he has been as of late. He needs to be tougher overall. 2 for his last 14 from the field entering today's contest, shooting around 41% from the field this year. Fordham needs him to step up and elevate his game.
And strong off the heel there. Josh Rivera's free throw woes continue here in 2024. And the Davidson lead will hold at 7-4. Abdu Simbila checks on here. Elijah Gray checks off.
I think part of the free throw shooting woes have to do with him getting a different role here at Fordham than he was used to at Lafayette. His responsibilities are more physical than they had been at his previous school.
As he rattles around and down to the children's pleasure there on the far side, that you hear that you can tell just by the tone of the cheer, a lot of young kids out there.
They might just be happy to be out of school, Miles, at 11:30 on a Tuesday.
It's a great point. Here's Grant Huffman at the top of the key. So a 1 of 2 trip for Rivera. Here's Davidson into the offensive half. They lead by 2, 7-5. Hunter Adam at the top of the key, hesitates and kicks it over to Cochera. Cochera, left side mid-post, down the lane, and he'll kick it out right side and out of bounds. Grant Huffman can't handle it on the pass. Out of bounds right into the Fordham bench now, and with 12:42 to play in our first half, it's going back Fordham's way. Davidson 7, Fordham 4.
The Rams defense did a good job of collapsing on Cochera. He's great in open space, but if you start to pressure him, he gets nervous and can make some passes like that.
Midor, the lob down low. Simbila catches under the basket, rises, and he's too strong from the right block. Grant Huffman the board ahead to Spundone. Spundone, a burst of speed. Cuts right to left in on Richardson and loses the dribble. Midor, the catch and the heave. Gets it to go off of Grant Huffman. Caught it out of bounds, or as he was flying out of bounds, and he tossed it off of Huffman. A veteran play there will give Fordham the possession. 7-5 Davidson here, 12-18 first half.
And Coach Ergo fired up after that save from Jaffe Medor. Those are the types of gritty plays that he wants his team to be making on the regular.
So 5 out there now for the Fordham Rams. Ramad Dean, Will Richardson, Jaffe Medor, Abdu Simbila, and Antrell Charlton. Here's Will Richardson, the knee-high dribble as he crosses the timeline, left side forecourt. Hands off now, Medor draws 2 defenders. Medor at the top of the circle now, angles his way to the right side. 18 to shoot, Medor dribbles between the legs, step back 3, right side, no good. Short off the iron there, and it'll be the foul on the floor. Abdu Simbila rose and got fouled from behind by Hunter Adam. So the possession stays here with Fordham, 12:02 to play. In our first half, it's 7-5. Davidson continues to lead.
And Fordham catching a little bit of a break, sort of a ticky-tack foul that time. Surprised we're seeing it this early in the ballgame.
Midor Inside now for Richardson. Richardson dumps it down low for Simbila. Simbila, the scrum on the floor. He couldn't control the pass. We'll see what the call is here. Do we have a foul? Do we have a jump ball?
I believe we might, Miles. And to the point on this Fordham offense, 2 of 15 from the field thus far. That has to improve if they want to win this ball game. Davidson, by contrast, 3 of 8. They've turned the ball over a few times. They've made some errant passes, but the efficiency is certainly there, or at least on the right track. If you're Fordham, you have to lock in and understand it is win or go home at this juncture in the game. You can't let Kochera or Bailey or Huffman get hot for Davidson and allow them to carry their team to victory.
Absolutely right. About 9 minutes into this one, and Fordham still yet to get more than 2 buckets. An awfully slow start, very similar to senior day against Rhode Island. Davidson 7, Fordham 5. But with that, we'll take a quick break here from Barclays. 11:55 to play in our first half. But with that, we're going to send it back to our Rose Hill studios for a scoreboard update with Lou Orlando.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Today marks the start of the A10 Men's Championship. The winner of this game will go on to play number 5 VCU. We've got 2 more games today in our round 1 slate. Number 10 LaSalle going up against number 15 GW at 2 p.m. And then closing it out with number 11 URI against number 15 at SLU at 4:30 p.m. Top 25, we got the West Coast Conference Final, number 17 Gonzaga going up against number 21 St. Mary's. That's all the way at 9 p.m. The women's A10 tournament, number 1 seeded Richmond defeated URI in the championship round, but the biggest drama came in the quarterfinals. Number 4 George Mason versus number 5 Duquesne. Mason trailing by 1. Sahira Watson draws a shooting foul on Duquesne's Tess Myers with a half-second left. The refs convene on the court. They decide to switch the foul to a non-shooting foul, and Duquesne wins by 1. After the game, the A10 releases a statement that the referee's decision to overturn the call was not permitted within the rules, but it's the University of Richmond earning the automatic bid on the women's side to the NCAA tournament. The men's A10 championship will be decided by Sunday. With your one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Lou Orlando.
And welcome back inside the Barclays Center here. An early 11:30 a.m. matchup between the Davidson Wildcats and the Fordham Rams. Davidson on top in a low-scoring affair, 7-5 here. The Wildcats to walk it up in the Reds, pushing right to left. It's Bundone across the timeline near side forecourt. Chest pass over to Kochera. Finds Durkin on the right side. Durkin flips it inside now. Reed Bailey back to the basket. Looking to go in to work on Simbila. Rises with the left hand, and he traveled. Shuffled his feet looking for positioning, and Fordham forces the turnover. 11:36 first half. Davidson up top, 7-5.
Footwork so important, Miles. That time Reed Bailey just unable to keep within himself. Got outside of himself and made an errant play as a result.
Kyle Rose over to Charlton on the right side perimeter. Charlton probes and lobs it down low for Simbila, and Simbila rises, and he got fouled by Hunter Adam. Hunter Adam looks like he got the worst of that, though. He's still holding his rib cage. Abdu Simbila looks to be okay, but the foul on the floor on Davidson. 11:21 to play first half. 7-5, Davidson the lead. Fordham still looking to find their footing offensively speaking.
And you question the basketball IQ there, going for the alley-oop when you haven't shot the ball well at all. 2 of 15 from the field. You have to set your offense before you can get fancy with it.
Richardson on the left elbow, calls out the play with 15 to shoot. Finds Antrell Charlton, right side perimeter. He'll cross right to left and pick up his dribble. Inside for Kyle Rose. Rose dumps it down low, and he's blocked back. Ramad Dean the rebound, and he got it to go on the second try. 7-7. Fordham got us all tied up with 11 to play in the first half. Here's Bailey, top of the circle, angles his way over to the right side perimeter. 2 dribbles with the left hand, rises with the right, and the floater falls over Simbila. Aggressiveness right there, Anna Reed Bailey. 12.7 a contest, and that's how he gets a lot of them.
Now Bailey with some fancy footwork that time, just sliced and diced his way towards the hoop. Once he gets that close, it normally goes in, Miles.
Kyle Rose, right side perimeter, pulls back the dribble and dumps it down low for Simbila. Simbila, post moves down low from the right block, and the foul on the floor. This one's going to be on Reed Bailey. Too physical with Simbila down from the right block. And Keith Urgo did tell us yesterday one thing he's appreciated is the physicality out of Simbila. It wears teams down, and it's picked up a lot down the stretch.
And the Rams certainly need Abdou Simbila to be physical, but I'm not quite sure what he was thinking there with that little sideways shuffle he had going on. Wasn't sure if he was dancing under the basket or trying to create space to go up for a shot. You have to be more deliberate with your motions.
Rod Dean is the trigger man on the basket. 10:31 to play. It's 9-7. Davidson on top. Inbound and immediately got the kickball is what it looked like. So Ramad Dean will reset now under the basket. And Fordham 2 of their last 14 from the field. And they only trail by 2. Cochera slaps it out of play on the baseline, staying here. And now Ramad Dean waves his left thumbs up to the coach saying, I got this, I got this. Dean, low post entry to Simbila. Simbila under the basket, draws 2 defenders, rises in. He's well short from the left block. Spundone, the Villanova transfer, snatches up the rebound and pushes right to left. Finds Cochera. Extra pass for Bobby Durkin, stuck in the right corner. Now up top for Spundone. He'll fake the 3 from the left side. Dribble drive into Charlton. Kicks it up top for Cochera. Top of the key. 3. Rattles it down. A lucky bounce there for Cochera. That's his second 3 of the contest. And Davidson up now 12-7.
You got to get some lucky bounces from time to time to win playoff games. Davidson catches a break there.
It looked like it deaded off the heel and then fell in. Charlton pulls up from the left elbow, and he rattles it around and down. Breaks the ice-cold streak for the Fordham Rams. Make it 12-9 now. Just a 3-point lead for Davidson, but Davidson heating up offensively. They've made their last 3. Here's Spundone. Dribble drive, the scoop lay from the left side. No good. Abdou taps it out of play on the baseline.
And Antrell Charlton finding that mid-range in the previous Fordham offensive possession. If I'm Coach Urgo, I want him taking that shot 10 out of 10 times. I don't care if it only goes in 5 or 6 of those times. He's been so good from that territory over the course of his Fordham career. If he gets the hot hand, it changes the complexion of the game, and it forces defenders to respect that shot and could open up things on the inside.
That mid-range is his bread and butter, as it has been all year. Here's Sean Logan, the sophomore big, at the top of the key. He'll hand off for Grant Hoffman. Now Hoffman, top of the circle. Dribble drive, the spin move, and he'll draw the contact and the finish. Grant Hoffman with a veteran bucket there through the contact. Make it 14-9 Wildcats. And Hoffman will head to the line for one more.
Hoffman, 6'4", 190 pounds. Also has a team-high 164 assists. That's a dangerous combination because when he gets going like that, when he's in motion, you have to be worried about him taking the shot, as he did, but he could also find someone on an easy jump-off or a kick-out for 3.
So the free throw falls there out of the right hand of Hoffman. 15-9 is the lead for Davidson. 9:21 to tick, and Antrell Charlton to cross the A10 logo, the knee-high dribble with the left hand. Angles his way over right side perimeter. Hoffman the pressure. Charlton alone on the right side. Now Jameer Tripp some help. He'll dump it down low for Tripp right side. Back to the basket, right block. Tripp rises and he'll draw the contact as he rose from the right block. So the freshman at 6'6", 230, headed to the free throw line here at Barclays. Jameer Tripp, the Brooklyn native, if I'm not mistaken, must feel good to be back in this building after that North Texas affair.
Definitely a homecoming for Jameer Tripp. He got the start today as well, Miles. I can't think of a better note of confidence than that. The fact that the freshman gets the start in the first playoff game for this Fordham team.
With Jameer Tripp, no good off the left side of the iron, so the lead will hold for Davidson, 15-9. 9:05 in the first half, and Colin, the offense was the issue against Rhode Island. They held the Rhode Island Rams to 58 points. They were able to take 17 more shots than them, but really they just couldn't hit at a high clip. And it's a similar story here. Jameer Tripp good on the second of 2, but with 9:05 to play in the half, they only have 10 points.
Unfortunately, if you're a Fordham fan, offensive issues can be contagious. They can carry over from game to game. They're going to have to do something to snap themselves out of this funk, especially the seniors being Kyle Rose and Antrell Charlton.
Hoffman, the same spin and a pretty lay around and out that time with the right hand. Wrestling for the rebound. Hoffman couldn't get it. Last touch, Grant Hoffman. And he spun around on the dribble drive, an identical spin move to his previous bucket. Couldn't get this one to fall, even though it's deeply down there.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's going to keep going to that move until Fordham proves they can stop it consistently. That time, just couldn't finish at the hoop.
So Charlton now once again to walk it up. He's the point guard today. Charlton kicks it up top. Gray, top of the key three. Elijah Gray, no good. Off the left side of the iron. Grant Huffman the board. 8:38 and ticking here in the first half. Huffman aggressive. Kicks it over to Hunter Adam on the left side perimeter. Now looking to go to work on Josh Rivera. Swings it up top for Durkin. Over right side for Cochera. Cochera attacks from the right side and gets it to go off the glass. 17-10, Davidson the lead.
Cochera won the baseline that time, and when an offensive player gets the baseline in that fashion, 10 times out of 10, they're going to finish at the hoop.
Antrell Charlton now leans in on Huffman, standing on the right perimeter. Bounces it over to Kyle Rose in the right corner. Kyle Rose backing his way down, draws two defenders and finds Tripp. Tripp the skip pass to Charlton. Left corner three, Antrell Charlton, no good. Short off the left side of the iron, but the putback. Josh Rivera from the left block brings Fordham back within 5. 17-12 now. Davidson on top. 7:50 to play in our first half. Davidson in red with the ball. Left arc three. Connor Cochera, no good. Off the right side of the iron. The offensive rebound. Wrestling for it is Sean Logan and Elijah Gray. And they'll say possession arrow coming out of the jump ball the direction of the Fordham Rams. So the aggressiveness pays off there for Josh Rivera. Got in there and ripped it free. But 7:41 to play in our first half. Davidson 17, Fordham 12. We're going to take a quick break here from downtown Brooklyn. This is Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
What's going on, guys? I'm Jack Warner, one of your New York Rangers beat reporters for the 2023-2024 NHL season. I'll have you covered all season long as New York looks to bring a Stanley Cup back to the Big Apple in Peter Laviolette's first season as head coach. Follow me on Twitter at Jack_Warner23 for live game updates, post-game media availability, and all things Blue Shirts.
Welcome back inside the Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York. It's the 2024 Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Championship Tournament. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Colin Loughran. Davidson the lead here with 7:41 to play in our first half. 17-12, the Wildcats on top. We're going to now be joined by the third member of our crew, Kris Pursiainen.
Thanks, Miles. It's very clear from being near the Fordham huddle what Coach Ergo wants these Rams focused on. To quote him, keep defending and rebounding. Keep defending and rebounding. Don't worry about offense. It'll happen. After a stop, he says to his bench, all we care about is this side, pointing to the defensive end of the court. We know the Fordham identity is mucking it up, getting down and dirty, and going mud wrestling, Miles. Well, that's been the focus thus far. We'll see how they can execute on such a game plan.
And thank you for that, Kris. A great point. And when we were able to sit down with Keith Ergo yesterday, we asked him, the defense has been trending in the right direction for the last two games. He said 40 full minutes of Fordham ball against UMass, something he's never said all year. And then, of course, they only hold Rhode Island to 58 points. A very solid defensive effort. But the offense, really, all he had to say was it's about make or miss it shots. They've been getting the open looks, just not knocking them down.
Typically, coaches will tell you that great defense leads to even better offense. The disturbing part right now for Fordham is that they've generated 7 turnovers. Davidson has turned the ball over 7 times. Fordham has not been able to make them pay for those mistakes. They're shooting an atrocious clip from the field. 5 of 21, 0 of 6 from downtown. And for a team that at times this year has lived and died by the 3, that cannot happen, especially in this setting at this time in the year in a playoff game.
And Colin, if you didn't bring up those numbers, I was about to bring up those numbers. 0 of 6 from three-point range just can't happen, and 23.8% from the field as a team. I mean, that's nearly an impossible clip to win in the A10 with.
And Davidson's shooting around 47%, which is not lighting the world on fire, but it's a far cry better from what Fordham's putting out there right now.
And this has been the issue over the last few games. Take a look at Fordham's last 5. 50 points last time out, 64 in a loss before that, 69 in the game previous to that. And then, of course, they won with 61, but really hanging around in that 60-point range the last couple of weeks. It's been an ugly offense here in Rose Hill, but now in Barclays Center. It's Kyle Rose at the top of the key. Skip pass over to Jaffe Medor, stuck in the right corner. Medor dribble drive, and he'll have to regroup and find Rivera. Rivera outside on the left arc. Now 6 seconds to shoot. Over to Charlton on the handoff. Handoff to Charlton. He'll pull up from 15, and he'll can it as the shot clock expires. 17-14. Fordham back within 3 now with 7 minutes to play in our first half.
Charlton now 2 of 4 from the field with 4 points. Could he be the Ram to step up in a big way? Remains to be seen.
Kuchera, top of the circle, leans in. Near side now. Back to the basket. Skip pass far side. Bobby Durkin can't handle the pass. That'll be out of bounds on the far sideline. Davidson turns it right back over to the Fordham Rams, and I'm taking their 8th of the contest, Colin. A good clip for Fordham in that department.
You don't want to beat yourself, and right now Davidson is allowing Fordham to stay in this ball game.
Josh Rivera outside on the left arc. 6:37 to play in the first half. 17-14. Davidson on top. Josh Rivera, top of the key three. No good off the left side of the iron. Connor Cochero rips free the board here for the Wildcats. And Davidson now crossing right to left, far side forecourt. Cochera looking to go all himself. He'll tip it near side, out of bounds on the near sideline. Kyle Rose, the defensive pest, taps it out of play on the near end and flew just over your head, Colin.
Hey, you know what? We're getting in on the action, too, here at the Barclays Center. We are right court side, Miles, a little bit different from the last time we were here in Brooklyn. We were a little bit further up for that North Texas game. Front row seats this time around.
Exactly right. Here's Logan outside on the left side perimeter. He'll hand off and get it back to Durkin. Durkin, left side triple, no good. Strong off the right side of the iron. Simbila will commit the foul down low. Connor Cochera went flying. He'll say Jaffe Medor committed the contact down low, going for the rebound. So Davidson will keep the possession. 6:10 to play in the first half. They're on top 17-14 with the ball.
And this feels very much like a swing possession for Davidson. If they can generate a bucket, they still maintain some semblance of control. A Fordham stop, however, keeps the Rams in striking distance.
Durkin, top of the key, angles his way to left side perimeter. Kyle Rose snatches it up on the near side and kicks it ahead to Antrell Charlton. Charlton in the offensive half. He'll dish it over to Medor. Medor, left side perimeter, angles his way inside now. Dribble drive, draws 2, and he'll draw the contact. Jaffe Medor rises from the right block. He'll be headed to the free throw line. Davidson 17, Fordham 14. 5:54 to play in the half. 2 coming from Medor.
Listen, Miles, we touched on it a little bit earlier. Jaffe Medor, 6 foot, 165 pounds. Not the biggest or strongest guy in the world, but against a Davidson team that is quite large, if he gets towards the painted area, there's a good chance he's going to draw contact and get to the free throw line, at which point it just comes down to, can he make his free throws?
Medor nails the first of 2, and once again, it's almost like a kids' day like we've had on Rose Hill here at Barclays this morning. Lights the kids up, but Fordham back within just 2 now. 17-15 Davidson. Medor gets his first point of the day. 0 of 4 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, but now 1 of 1 from the charity stripe. So Medor holds the ball, pardon me, at his left hip, takes a deep breath, rises and is good on the second free throw as well. Fordham within a sole point, 17-16, 5:54 to play in our first half, and what's been another low-scoring affair.
And noticeably, Fordham hasn't begun this game too poorly from the free throw line. 4 of 6, better than what they're typically used to this year. Angelo
Brizzi up top finds Huffman. Huffman outside on the left arc. Jaffe Medor applying the pressure. Huffman finds Cochera. Cochera slips. It's on some moisture, loses the ball. Medor ahead, no good. On the dribble drive with the left hand, pardon me. And Davidson the rebound, out pushing right to left. 5:26 to play in the half. 17-16, Davidson the lead and the ball. Dumps it down low for the cunning Cochera, and Abdu Simbila tapped it off the rim. Clearly a goaltend there, and Simbila picked up the FIBA rules goaltend last game. He gets one here and making a 19-16 Davidson lead.
Cochera putting together a nice game. 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from range, 10 points so far. 10 of the 19 Davidson points are on account of Cochera.
5-10 and ticking, and Cochera has been that bright spot as he was back in January, if you remember. Here's Josh Rivera, dribble drive, and he gets called for the offensive foul. Pushed off as he took off. And it's going right back to Davidson. 5:04 to play in our first 20. Davidson on top 19-16, and Rivera the offensive foul.
And that's an offensive foul that you live with if you're Coach Ergo. You'd much rather have Joshua Rivera playing an offensive style that is blatantly aggressive than looking passive out there in this setting.
Angelo Brizzi now to walk it up, the Virginia native on the A10 logo. Knee-high dribble with the right hand, leans in on Will Richardson. Brizzi, righty slot now, dribble drive in on Medor, turns around, and he traveled. He surely did. Our near side referee blows it dead, and it's going back Fordham's way. 4:49 in the half. Still a narrow lead for the Wildcats, 19-16.
Fordham gets a little bit antsy whenever Pursiainen gets the ball. 14 points, 5 of 7 off the bench in the second meeting this season against Fordham. So he was an impact player in that one.
Charlton lobs it inside for Josh Rivera on the left elbow. Rivera, knee-high dribble with the left hand, hands off for Medor. Medor pulls up, no good on the mid-range J. Abdu Simbila, offensive rebound up top for Richardson. Top of the key three, and Richardson in the mass today nails it, making a 19-19 game. 4:22 first half. Here's Huffman, dribble drive, the hesitation, and the righty lay. Does it all himself and gets a little bit of mo back for Davidson. 21-19. 4:11 first half.
And Abdu Simbila left his feet too early that time, allowed Huffman just to work around him with a nifty little spin move.
Simple hesitation, got the spin on Abdu, and it all worked out there for Huffman. Here's Josh Rivera, hand off from Medor, left side triple, Jaffe Medor, no good. Off the left side of the iron, 3:51 in second first half. Here's Huffman for Davidson. Drives in on Charlton and kicks it out for Brizzi. Brizzi stuck on the right side, finds Cochera, and it's tapped out of play by Josh Rivera. Davidson will retain the possession. They lead 21-19 here. 3:42 to play in the first half.
Davidson right now shooting at a better clip than Fordham. They're at around 50%. Fordham, on the other hand, they're at around only 25%. Additionally, Davidson winning the battle of the glass 17-13. Fordham's spoken ad nauseum this year about wanting to be more physical. It's time to put up or shut up in that department.
And Fordham holding their own defensively speaking, but still hitting shots at a 25% clip down the stretch. But here at Barclays, it's a 21-19 Davidson lead. 3:42 first half. But with that, we're going to send it back to our Rose Hill studios for another scoreboard update with Lou Orlando.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
We've got a bevy of news from the NFL with free agency starting yesterday, so let's hit the big one. Saquon Barkley, former Rookie of the Year, two-time Pro Bowler, leaves the New York Giants after 6 seasons. And for Giants fans, a tough one to swallow. He signs in division with the rival Philadelphia Eagles, 3 years, $12.5 million per year. Giants rebound, they sign former Bills Texan running back Devin Singletary. But the big move, a trade and sign for Panthers pass rusher Brian Burns. His 5-year, $141 million extension makes him the second highest paid DN in the NFL. Tyrod Taylor will stay in New York, but switches colors. He's over with the Jets now. With the one-on-one scored update, I'm Lou Orlando.
3:42 to play in our first half as we welcome you back inside the Barclays Center here in Brooklyn. Davidson on top in this round one contest at the A10 tournament. 21-19, Davidson leads, but we're now going to be joined by the third member of our crew, Kris Pursiainen.
Thanks, Miles. It's really important for Fordham at this juncture of this game to start executing on the opportunities they create for themselves. With only 3 turnovers, Fordham's taking care of the rock compared to Davidson's 11 turnovers. But Jaffe Medor being 0 of 7 from the floor and missing a gimme layup down the other end shows you that Fordham isn't capitalizing on these opportunities. Let's see if Will Richardson's 3 can help turn that around.
And thank you for that, Kris. It's a great point. Fordham taking care of the ball, just not shooting at a very high clip. 1 of 9 from three-point range, 7 of 28 as a team. Here back underway. It's Davidson basketball. Grant Huffman angles his way over to the right side perimeter. Kyle Rose applies the pressure. He kicks it over to Durkin. Durkin the handoff for Huffman. Huffman now 9 to shoot. Grant Huffman, top of the circle. Jumps it down low, and Sean Logan rises and draws the contact from Abdu Simbila. He was late on the rotation, and he had to commit the contact. So Sean Logan, the sophomore at 6'10", heads to the charity stripe. That'll be a clock stoppage with 3:28 to play in our first half. Davidson, a narrow lead, 21-19.
Sean Logan so far today, 1 of 1 from the field, has 2 points. Only a sophomore, so a lot of development left for him at the collegiate level. As a team captain in high school, tells you a lot about a player. The fact that he was tapped as one of the leaders of his team even back then, so Davidson certainly hoping he can grow into his own.
And Sean Logan, the Westfield, New Jersey native, has been the everyday starting 5 ever since their leading scorer, David Skogman, at 6'10", went down at 13.3 points per game. He was no good on the first free throw, and he's good on the second, making it 22-19. Davidson lead, 3:24 to play in our first half. Here's Will Richardson. Hand off for Jameer Tripp at the top of the key. Moving it around the motion offense, back to Richardson. Richardson, top of the circle, 17 to shoot. He drives in and he loses the dribble. Poked free by Brizzi and into the hands of Connor Cochera. Cochera pushing right to left now. 3 minutes to play in our first half. Here's Brizzi. Thought about the three from the left perimeter. Drives in on Jameer Tripp. Brizzi swings around the pass now to Hunter Adam and gets it back. Brizzi, right arc three, no good. Well short off the right side of the iron. Hunter Adam diving for the rebound will have the last touch for Davidson. Fordham another stop here with 2:54 to play in the half. Davidson on top, 22-19. Now the 5 out there for Fordham. Kyle Rose, Will Richardson, Joshua Rivera, Jameer Tripp, and Abdu Simbil. We've seen a couple funky 5s out there, Colin.
No question. Davidson now showing press. We'll have to see if Fordham can bust their zone coverage.
So Will Richardson beats the full court pressure. He'll walk it up now. 2:45 to play in the first half. Josh Rivera lobs it down low for Tripp, and Tripp is fouled from behind. We'll say this one's on the floor, so just the right sideline inbound for the Fordham Rams with 2:41 to play in the half. A one-possession game, Colin, as it's been for much of this one, 22-19, Davidson the lead.
Sometimes it's about getting on that run that puts your team over the top. This game could come down to who gets on that run first. I mean, even going back to that URI game, Fordham failed to ever really get on a truly good scoring run that would have put them ahead of URI or even made it a game down the stretch. This one seeming a little bit similar, definitely closer than that contest, though.
So Jameer Tripp, the freshman, the Brooklyn native, stands at the free throw line, and he's no good, in and out. So pardon me, it wasn't a near sideline inbound. It was a 1-and-1. They missed the first one, and Fordham commits the frustration foul after Davidson snatches up the rebound. So the Davidson lead will hold at 22-19 with 2:40 to play in the half, and the free throw woes continue. And Colin, the front end of a 1-and-1 is so key. It's something that's specific to only college basketball, and it can be demoralizing when you miss. Here's Connor Cochera into the offensive set. A scrum on the floor as he loses his footing, and they'll call that a travel on Connor Cochera. Jameer Tripp got his hands on the ball, forced Cochera to the deck. And they'll call that a travel. So Fordham forces another turnover here. That's been the strong suit. Plenty of stops, plenty of forced turnovers.
And unfortunately, if you're a Ram fan, it won't make a difference unless Fordham can shoot at a better clip on the offensive end of the court. Davidson has given them every opportunity to go ahead in this game or to really make it a one-possession game multiple times.
Richardson bounces high post for Jameer Tripp. Jameer Tripp, the left side drive, and the scoop lay is well strong. Sean Logan muscles in for the rebound, and Davidson will have the possession now. 22-19, Wildcats dribble drive for Hunter Adam. He's well short on the righty scoop. Will Richardson the rebound now. 2 minutes to play in the half. Here's Will Richardson. Right arc back to the basket. He'll dish it up top for Kyle Rose. 22-19, the Davidson lead. Here's Kyle Rose, top of the key. Attacks in and loses the dribble, and it's poked free. Last touch off the left leg of Kyle Rose. And Davidson now forcing a couple more turnovers. They lead 22-19, a $153 first half. And Fordham still just cannot get that offense going.
Rose has gotten better of creating off the dribble as the season has gone on, but too much, way too much there, Miles. You have to play within the offense, create a set, get the ball moving around the perimeter.
And Yoli Akuovo picks off the pass, who just checked into this ball game in transition. Now here's Ramon Dean. Kicks over right arc for Jameer Tripp. Tripp back to the basket. Handoff for Kyle Rose right side. Rose probes and dishes it over to Richardson. Left arc three. Will Richardson, no good. Short off the left side. Bobby Durkin, the freshman at 6'7", rises, pulls down the rebound. Now 90 seconds to play in the half. Here's Grant Huffman, the point guard, at the top of the circle. 22-19, Davidson with the basketball. Bobby Durkin on the right side perimeter over to Connor Cochera. Cochera will drive in, and he'll get slapped. Be interesting to see if this is on the floor. Jameer Tripp is the guilty party, and it looks like we will have free throws here for Connor Cochera. And Cochera was the absolute hero in the first time these two faced off. Was feisty, got into it with Antrell Charlton, hit a couple threes, but he was the energy guy as well.
And the best way to describe Connor Cochera's game is fundamental. There's nothing particularly spicy or intriguing about it. He just gets the job done. Even his handles, it's never this grand to do. It's one move here, another move there, and he's cutting right towards the rim, Miles. And last time these two teams met, Cochera made Fordham pay. 21 points, 8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 5 from downtown.
Cochera 2 of 2 from the charity stripe, make it 24-19 Wildcats. A minute 14 to play in the half, and the Fordham Rams haven't scored in the last 3.5 minutes. Here's Antrell Charlton on the left arc. Takes the Yole Akuovo screen. Charlton, top of the key, two-hand overhead pass into the hands of Medor. Medor outside on the left arc. Knee-high dribble, crosses over on Hoffman. Drives in now to the A10 and's got it poked free. Ramon Dean recovers with 9 to shoot. Dean draws 2 defenders and kicks it high post. Medor, right arc 3, wide open, no good. Short off the front of the iron, and no one within 3 feet of him as he took that one. But now Bobby Durkin will dish it back to Hoffman, and Davidson now a 15-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. They got the ball. Here's Connor Cochera, top of the key, dribble drive, the aggressiveness down the right side of the lane, and he's well short. Antrell Charlton the rebound, and Keith Ergo says hold for the final possession, and they'll actually take the timeout. Antrell Charlton crosses the timeline, and now with 23.9 to play in our first half, both sides to the huddle. Davidson 24, Fordham 19. Keith Ergo looking to draw some up for the final possession of the half.
And this has become one of Coach Ergo's calling cards throughout the season. Right now, Fordham down 5. I have to say, I'm not sure where I stand on the decision here to call timeout and try and draw something up offensively. With how Fordham has been shooting the ball, sometimes finding your way through improvisation is better than trying to force something for the sake of forcing something, Miles. It may have been better to let that offensive possession play out, see if you can find a kick in down low or an open 3. Just on that last possession, Jaffe Medor had a wide open 3 that he should have drilled. You never want to say the guys need to hit a shot here or there, but in that situation, with how wide open he was, that's one you have to have if you're Fordham. Medor now 0 of 8 from the field today.
And Colin, there was a certain point where Kyle Rose was getting hot offensively night in and night out. If you remember, he had that career-high 31 points just a couple weeks ago. And asked Keith Ergo, who do you look to as that second and third option to hold down the offense? Well, really, there's no primary option today. Medor 0 for 8, Kyle Rose 0 for 5. Antrell Charlton 2 of 4. The old guys have really slowed down both senior day and here in the Atlantic 10 tournament. Cochera pokes the pass away and into the hands of Hunter Adam. An effort play right there, and Davidson picks up the turnover. And now the Wildcats can hold for the final possession here in the first half. Grant Hoffman at the top of the circle now, 8 seconds to play in the half. Draws 2 defenders in Rose and Elijah, kicks it near side. Durkin, left arc 3, yes! Bobby Durkin, as the clock expires, make it 27-19. And Davidson rocking and rolling to end the first 20.
The freshman with a key triple, and all Antrell Charlton could do is watch, Miles. What a 3 for Davidson. Now up 8 points heading into the break. Something's got to give for the Rams. They have to reset, come out with a purpose in the second half.
And it was tied at 19-19, if you remember, but an 8-0 run for the Davidson Wildcats to finish the half. And through 20 minutes, they now lead 27-19. The Fordham Rams scoreless for the last 25% of the half. Over 4 minutes of basketball time. And Colin, if you remember, against Rhode Island, they literally didn't score for well over 8 minutes of basketball time. It was their longest scoreless drought of the entire season. But now ice cold offensively speaking through 20 minutes. Davidson 27, Fordham 19. But we're going to take a quick break here for halftime at the Barclays Center. We'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the halftime show with Chaz McAdams and Lou Orlando.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Welcome into the one-on-one halftime report. I'm Chaz McAdams here with the incomparable Lou Orlando.
Thank you.
Here talking some A10 first-round basketball. Fordham down 19-27 at the half as Miles and Colin reported. Great job on that first half broadcast, going scoreless in the last 5 minutes of that first half. A lot to go wrong. A lot went wrong, but I think a lot of things went right for Fordham. They got a lot of turnovers off Davidson. They didn't score enough off of them, though. Didn't really clean up on the glass enough, but definitely got the shots they wanted. They're just not falling. Lou, what do you make of this first half?
Well, I think back to what you said to me in the studio before this game started, which is I think we'll have a sense of how this game's going to go based on the first 10 minutes or so. I'm not sure that I'm there right now because Fordham starts out about as cold as you can and ends the first half about as cold as you can, and still they're within 8. And listen, that 3 at the end by Durkin to make it an 8-point lead, like that is
actually
that's twisting the knife a little bit. That's one that really is going to hurt.
This is March.
There's a glass of water here. I think there's a way to look at it as half glass full with the sense that you're still in that game. Where I kind of get lost in is how much of that is thanks to Fordham and how much of that is I don't think Davidson had their best half
Not even
basketball
close.
either. And we're talking about two teams that are struggling coming in. It kind of feels like a 12-13 game.
Davidson with 13 turnovers, shooting 45% from the field, and a remarkable 38% from beyond the arc. Not ideal. You don't have that 50-40 that you love, but still very close. Fordham getting a lot of shots up, 31 shots up, only making 7, 23% from beyond the arc. Fordham shooting 11, only making a single 3 the entire game from Will Richardson. Speaking of missed shots, I think we got to talk about the combined 0 for 13 from Jaffe Medor and Kyle Rose. What do these guys need to do in the second half to kind of get it done, do you think?
Well, I mean, part of it, I think, is just this team as a whole, but especially them two hitting their open shots, because I think Fordham's had struggles all year long with making contested shots inside. You could look up and down the roster and point fingers and go, you probably need to take a step here and get a little bit better at that. But I think back to the second half of the URI game on senior day to end the season, and Fordham shooting 26% from the field and having a 10-minute stretch where they don't make a field goal. And to me, I saw a lot of that offensive struggle transfer over to this first half of basketball at the start of the A10 championship, where we're looking at Fordham's key pieces like Kyle Rose, and especially today like Jaffe Medor, not stepping up and being the playmakers. When you look at what Fordham's offense has done when they've operated and hit at an exceptional level or just operated in the way that they've been trying to, I think it's Rose and Medor playmaking and creating chances for themselves, facilitating getting other guys open. But those are the two guys that I point to and I look at and I go, those are the two guys that can create offense for themselves. And right now they're not doing it. And that's obviously going to be a big blow to Fordham offensively. I think it translates to what you're seeing in the box score.
Totally. And about the minutes, a very interesting starting lineup, something we have not seen for Fordham a lot. Starting lineup being Antrell Charlton, Kyle Rose, Romad Dean, Jameer Tripp, the freshman, and Abdu Simbila. You'll notice that I didn't mention a single guard in terms of size in that whole starting 5. I think that kind of speaks to what Antrell Charlton brings to the table in terms of being the point forward for the squad.
I mean, it feels like this starting lineup has kind of been put into a blender down the stretch. I think the Jaffe Medor injury really threw things out of whack where, I mean, to put it bluntly, Medor hasn't been the same player that he was since that ankle sprain. You've seen him struggle to get back into double-digit scoring and produce at the same level. And what I think you've seen Ergo do is to try and respond and try and mix things up. There was that stretch where Dean and Gray were in the starting lineup, and they were hoping from the spark from the young guys. Today, it's Jameer Tripp getting the start in round 1 of the A10 championship. Like, that's, I think, a big sign of faith in a freshman and a young guy in this roster. But I think, no guards, that's very interesting. Obviously, Davidson's got some nice size, and Fordham trying to combat that, and also trying not to lose for a third time to them this year. I wonder, you start to try anything, a little bit of desperation of what do we need to do? What do we need to switch up that we didn't do? What do we need to do differently that we didn't do the first 2 times to maybe throw them off or give us a different look? I think that's what they tried. I think debatable on whether or not it worked.
Right, and obviously when you're down 8 after going scoreless in that last 5, the turnover off the Ergo Pandit, use it or lose it.
Those last 30 seconds were pretty tough.
Knife to the heart. If you're game's not over. I mean, you got 20 minutes of basketball left in the Barclays Center down in Brooklyn, Atlantic Avenue. You can get a lot done in those 20 minutes, but Can they versus will they? You know what I mean? I want to talk a little bit about the Wildcats. Bobby Durkin has not filled up the box score a lot, but I feel like has been a pretty big presence in his 15 minutes. I feel like I'm seeing him doing a lot of the intangibles out on the court. Who do you think has been important for Davidson in their lead versus Fordham?
I mean, the easy answer is Kuchera, the 12 points and what he did last time against Fordham, exploding for 21, and clearly that's been their go-to guy. But I think back, this is how often do you hear someone's name? And for me, that's Huffman. Like, I feel like I'm hearing Miles say the name Huffman all the time. And when you look at Davidson, you worry about what they can do with their size. It's a smaller bench rotation than Fordham has. I think Fordham's gotten 10 guys in, Davidson only 7. And so you're worrying about less guys, but the guys that they do have in, I think are all bringing something to the table. And Huffman's another guy that maybe not filling up the box score per se, 5 points, 3 rebounds, but he's a guy that's been very active inside. Yeah, and I think that the thing that's benefited a lot of what Davidson has been doing is I think a lot of people have been saying it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, but I think Davidson is not resting on their back feet a lot. I think they are definitely taking a balls on their feet, athletic position, heels off the ground approach to this game, and they're learning from the few mistakes they did make in those 2 wins against Fordham, and also making adjustments in this A10 championship. I think there's something freeing to both of these teams coming in on pretty bad skids. I think for Davidson, they lost 7-10. For Fordham, it's lost 7-9.
Fordham was their last win, right?
Fordham was their last win.
Middle of February.
February 20th.
February
so
20th.
I do think there's something freeing to low expectations. You go in against, neither of you guys are coming in red hot and blank slate. Davidson, I feel like, has really embodied the idea of blank slate. To me, Fordham feels like they're carrying a lot of the baggage that's come with the losing the last couple of weeks. Yeah, and this might be my hopefully not, but my last halftime broadcast of this season, always been a patented, something I love to ask my co-hosts. Who is someone that you are looking at on either side to make some big noise in the second half of this first round of the A10 championship? You know what? I'll go Will Richardson. The only player that hit a 3 in the first half is Will Richardson. He's coming off the bench, right, because they didn't start with the guards. I'm curious to see who Ergo starts with in the second half, whether they switch it up, because I'd be surprised if he starts with Jaffe Medora out there, the fact that he's 0 for 8 from the field, 0 for 4 from deep. But I think that he might try and get another guard into that lineup to start the second half. I think that could be Will Richardson. He's got that mask on. Maybe that translates to a little bit of success there. But, I mean, Fordham, I don't know if they're going to need necessarily the 3-ball. I think they can get back in this game without the 3-ball. And they've gotten back and they've gotten wins this year without making it rain from deep. But it would certainly help in an A10 playoff game to get some success from beyond the arc. And to me, Will Richardson's a guy that can bring you that. Absolutely. I think Abdou Timbila. I think that it's a good name too. There's something about Abdou and Barclays. There's something about the kid from Cameroon, the game winner on Atlantic Ave. That game-winning dunk against North Texas. I wish every time I close my eyes I got to see that. I want that freeze frame tattooed on the inside of my eyeballs. That was a great game winner. But the man in the middle for the Fordham Rams has definitely been. I don't want to say not himself, because he's been a little lackluster this second half of the season. Definitely a lot of ups and downs. 1 for 5 from the field right now. A team high, 4 rebounds. I'll throw you a little Josh Rivera, because another guy that came off the bench, playing very physical, leading the team in scoring. 5 points. Which is not something you would think you'd be like, 5 points, but 5
leading
points
the team
is
with
5 points is maybe not the biggest crown you could ever place upon someone's head. But Fordham needs to get their points from everywhere right now. And when I look at these splits, the one thing I see 10 bench points for Fordham, 2 for Davidson. We talk about how Davidson's got a tighter rotation. Ergo trusts a lot of his guys, so they might not necessarily be star-heavy or top-heavy, but they got a lot of different guys that can go in and fill their roles. And to me, Josh Rivera can just play his role in that game, and that would be another boost for them. I mean, I agree. When everyone's firing on all cylinders, I don't know if there's much that can stop this team. My only issue with Rivera is that when he's cold, he's ice cold. Yeah. I mean, I think he's got to start hot to get hot, and maybe relative to this game, he is 2 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from beyond the arc. But I'm very interested to see
how the dynamic of the second half, because it's been ugly basketball. And Fordham usually excels when it's ugly.
And you know what? The A10 tournament games, especially the early ones, the lower seeds, they get ugly. That's I think something you see across the board when you get to tournament play.
Definitely. But I think that is going to do it for us for the one-on-one halftime show. Lou Orlando, you'll hear from him throughout the broadcast. You'll hear from both of us for the post-game show. But for now, we're gonna take the 4 train down to Atlantic Ave to the Barclays Center. We're gonna kick it back to Miles and Colin for some second half of the first round of the Atlantic 10.
And welcome back courtside here at Barclays Center. It's halftime between the Davidson Wildcats and the Fordham Rams. Fordham the 12 seed, Davidson the 13. This is game 1, day 1 at the Atlantic 10 tournament. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Colin Loughran. And Colin, the Fordham Rams trail by 8. They failed to score the final 4 minutes of the half. And of course now it's 20 minutes for the rest of the season.
Davidson has been able to find some offensive rhythm. Grant Huffman with 4 assists. Of course, the star of the show, though, Connor Cochera, 4 of 7 from the field, a team-high 12 points, a game-high 12 points at that. As for Fordham, their main stars have not stepped up and delivered. Kyle Rose, 0 of 5 from the field. Jaffe Medor, 0 of 8 from the field. Antrell Charlton, though, is someone that I will look to in this second half to step up for his Rams. 2 of 4 from the field, 4 points. Nothing to write home about, but it's the type of efficiency Fordham is going to need going forward. Someone else to look for, Josh Rivera. He's been far more aggressive on the offensive end today than he has been in the past. 5 points so far on a very efficient 2 of 3 clip. At this point, you almost don't care about the efficiency so long as the ball starts going through the hoop and you start getting some points on the scoreboard. It's clear that if Fordham is going to win this game, they're going to have to muck it up. They're going to have to make this game very physical and out-tough Davidson. Not a tall task against a Wildcat team that is bigger, longer, and lankier. That's the statement I'm going to keep coming back to. But if you want to have a puncher's chance, you're going to have to just do that. Act like a puncher.
A lot of good points there, Colin. And this Davidson team is long, they can shoot, but today what's really stood out is just how hard they're playing. I mean, throughout the team, you see Connor Cochera on both sides of the ball. The effort plays that you know Keith Thurgo is a big fan of, but the offensive numbers really tell the story for me, Colin. I mean, 1 from 11 from downtown, 7 of 31 as a team, 22% in any half of college basketball is relatively shocking. The only reason why it's a tad less shocking is because the last few games, the Fordham Rams have unfortunately been trending in this direction. This was about the clip they hit against Rhode Island, a game where they only mustered 50 points in a low-scoring 58-50 loss. But Colin, it's extremely hard to score without your 1 and 2 option. You take a look at this box score. Kyle Rose and Jaffe Medor combined for 0 of 13 from the field. The first half of the year, Jaffe Medor was the leader of this offense. He was the fastest guy on the group. He had that quick first step that could lead Fordham. He went away a little bit in the second half, and who stepped up in his absence? Kyle Rose. Well, both of these guys in the Atlantic 10 tournament, silent, 0 of 13 in the first half. That's really the first thing I'm keeping an eye on. Will those 2 names step up in half number 2? Because as we know, in the case of Kyle Rose, it would be his last 20 as a Fordham Ram.
As for the crew from North Carolina, I think the 13 turnovers is a bit deceptive. Some of those turnovers were a result of some very good Fordham defense, but the majority of them, in my estimation, was just too much ball movement and some errant passes here and there. When that's occurring, if you're a coach, sometimes you live with those turnovers because it's an example of your team playing hard, and sometimes it's better to just have to rein a team in than to try and motivate them to do more.
Exactly right. About 30 seconds from getting underway, the Fordham Rams wearing the crispy whites as the home team, I presume, today, as the 12 seed hosting the 13 seed in the Davidson Wildcats. But Colin, this is the 3rd time these two have met since January. They met on 117. Davidson took that one up at Rose Hill, 79-69. And then back at their place down in North Carolina on February 20th. As they said during the halftime show, it was Davidson's most recent win. They've been ice cold, but they did take down the Fordham Rams 68-53 in their place. But Colin, what stands out about both of those two games? Double-digit victories for the Wildcats. Fordham was not in it down the stretch.
And for Fordham, this is a trilogy that is seemingly trending in the wrong direction. They're hoping to turn things around in the second act at the Barclays Center.
Yes, sir. So an identical starting five for the Fordham Rams. Kyle Rose, Antrell Charlton, the veteran backcourt, Ramad Dean, Jameer Tripp, the freshman, and Abdu Simbila, the big guys. Of course, the same starting five out there for the Wildcats in red. Grant Huffman to cross the A10 logo, and we're underway in half number 2. 27-19, Davidson on top. Grant Huffman dribble drive down the right side of the lane, and the righty finished over Kyle Rose. 29-19, Davidson lands the first punch in the second half. It's a double-digit lead for Davidson.
Man, that's demoralizing if you're a Fordham player. Huffman made Rose look absolutely small and helpless there.
Jameer Tripp outside on the left arc, pulls into the mid-range. Jay in and out from the left side there. And Grant Huffman rips away the Davidson board. 19-22 and ticking here in the second half. Grant Huffman dribble drive down the right side of the lane. Rises on a right hand, and he's no good. Strong off the heel there, a little out of control. Here's Fordham in transition. Jameer Tripp under the bucket, kicks it up top for Dean. Extra pass over to Charlton, and they'll get it back to Jameer Tripp. Left side mid-post, and Tripp has it poked free on the near side by Sean Logan. And I would go get this basketball. It's a few feet from me, but now we got to wait for our near side referees to trot over and grab it. Don't want to take the headset off of that.
Hey, I think that's your cue to check in, Miles.
They might need me at this point. Just kidding. 19:01 to play in the game. 29-19. Here's Antrell Charlton looking to get some offense going. Swings it over to Dean. Dean, top of the key three. Yes! Nothing but net for Ramad Dean, and Fordham gets a much-needed bucket. 29-22. Back within 7.
Ramad Dean has been working on that three-point game all year. 1 for his last 12 from range, gets his first of the day there.
Grant Huffman saves the pass over from Reed Bailey on the left arc and kicks it up top for Durkin. Bobby Durkin, the freshman, got it on the left arc. He's the sharpshooter. He'll step into it. No good. Off the left iron. And Antrell Charlton the rebound. Ahead to Jameer Tripp. They've got numbers 1 on 3, and it's blocked out of play. Grant Huffman catches up, swats it out of play. It'll stay here with the Fordham Rams. Davidson the lead 29-22, 18-20 in regulation.
And Tripp that time just a step too slow going up for the shot. Had he gone up a millisecond earlier, we're probably talking about how Fordham just got 2 points.
Kyle Rose outside on the right arc. Connor Kuchera applies the pressure. Chest pass over to Charlton. Extra pass to Tripp. Left arc 3. No good. Well strong out of the right hand to Jameer Tripp. Abdu Simbila gets it out to Kyle Rose on the offensive board. Down low on the lob. Antrell Charlton looking for Dean, and he cannot get it. And then Antrell Charlton, the second lob, he's tossed out of bounds in this one. 29-22. Davidson gets the stop. They got the basketball.
And you're down by 7 points. Why you're trying to convert an alley-oop now is a major head-scratcher.
And Kyle Rose, too strong on the reach at the top of the circle. In on Grant Huffman will be the foul on the floor. So far sideline inbound for the Davidson Wildcats in red. 29-22 they lead. Here's Huffman outside on the right arc. 17:52 in regulation. Here's Sean Logan, the sophomore big, at the top of the circle. One-hand dribble with the right. And he'll dish it over to Huffman. Huffman down low. Rises is Sean Logan, and is blocked back by Jameer Tripp. Kyle Rose secures the board. Back to Tripp in transition. Abdu catches, and he's found down low. So Reed Bailey commits the contact. Abdu Simbila was rising under the basket, so it should be 2 free throws here for Abdu Simbila. A clock stoppage with 17:34 to play in the half. 29-22. Davidson continues to lead. But Ramad Dean hits one from downtown, and that lit Fordham up a little bit. You can see moving with more energy now.
And that last foul from Bailey felt very much like a, okay, let's stop it kind of foul, because Fordham was starting to get some momentum. They were working quickly on the offensive end on the break, trying to force their way into the paint and get an easy layup.
So Simbila rattles home in the first of 2 off the front iron and down. And Fordham within 2 possessions now, 29-23 is the Davidson lead. 17 34 to play. Here's Simbila, one dribble, spins it into his right palm and rises, and he's good on the second. Fordham within 5 now, 29 to 24, 17:34 to play. And now we got that full court pressure. Jaffe Medor, a big part of it in the backcourt. Bobby Durkin inbounds to Hunter Adam, and Hunter Adam will cross the timeline, pick up his dribble, and look for a teammate, Ramad Dean, on him. And he'll kick it over to Connor Kochera. Kochera, 20 seconds to shoot on the left side forecourt. He finds Sean Logan. Logan back to Bobby Durkin, the 6'7" freshman shooter at the top of the key. Here's Durkin, dumps it down low for the cutting Kochera, and he rises, he gets fouled. Swatted out of play by Simbila, but man, oh man, Kochera got his legs taken out, and he is headed to the free throw line for 2 more freebies.
Fordham with that man-to-man defense on that possession. They've been known to switch a couple of times throughout the season. Looks like they're sticking with man in this one, and when they do that, it allows Abdou Simbila to have more mobility and to make a choice as to whether or not he's going to collapse towards the paint and help or stay with his man drifting outside. That time, collapses towards the paint, gets the block, but does so at the cost of a foul.
So the senior guard, 6'5" out of Arlington Heights, Illinois, rises and is good off the left side of the iron and in on the free throw, making a 30-24 Davidson lead. And Kochera already up to 13 points on the contest, 4 of 7 from the field, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, make it 4 of 4 there. So it makes it a 31-24 Davidson lead. 17-10 in second. Jaffe Medor across the timeline, moving right to left. He'll kick it up top for Atriel Charlton. Charlton the Rose, thought about the three at the top of the key and dishes over for Dean. Dean, right arc three, no good. Short off the right side of the iron. Connor Kochera the rebound. Now a burst of speed in the offensive set. Bobby Durkin now catches the pass, dishes it up top. Kochera. Kochera fakes, dribble drive in, rises with the right, no good. Well short there. Atriel Charlton the rebound. 16:45 and ticking. Here's Charlton. Pulls up from 15. No good. Strong off the left side of the iron. Simbila the board, and Simbila is hurt. Writhing in pain down low, and it looks like the left knee. And the last thing you want to see if you're the Fordham Rams, the referee blew it dead simply because of Abdou's injury. Fordham did control the board, so that's why they were able to blow it dead. But Abdou Simbila, you can see the facial expression. He looks like he's in quite a bit of pain. And now Keith Ergo and the training staff rushing over. Both sides will head to the huddle. And just an uncomfortable scene here. Abdou Simbila fully horizontal on the turf, getting some words from Keith Ergo. Now Keith Ergo leans in forehead to forehead in on Simbila, giving him some words of encouragement, but Abdou Simbila, 2 hands covering his face now, and it looks like he's checking for some blood on his nose.
And you certainly hope Abdou Simbila will be okay as he does get up with some help. Yole Akorobo chatting with him as well, his battery mate.
Exactly.
2 big men.
So Abdou Simbila now actually heads to the locker room, or it seems that they'll stop him on his way to the locker room. And so now just beyond the Fordham bench here at Barclays, getting some attention from our training staff. But now some words from Yole, and the 5 back in there now for Fordham. Jaffe Medor, Ramad Dean, Elijah Gray to check on here. Atriel Charlton and Kyle Rose. Of course, we will keep an eye on Abdou Simbila, see if he's able to return to the bench.
And that is a major loss for Fordham if indeed Abdou Simbila is out for this game. He is their best rim protector. He's their best rebounder. It's going to take a lot to overcome that sort of loss in the painted area. It will require guys like Elijah Gray and Yole Akolobo to step up.
It didn't look like it was contact to the face. Got a towel to the face, trying to clean up what looks to be some blood, not 100% sure. So our sideline reporter, Kris Pursiainen, will get the scoop there. But back underway here, it's Elijah Gray at the top of the key. Catches at the left elbow and finds Charlton. Charlton outside on the left perimeter, swings it over to Ramad Dean. Dean the handoff for Kyle Rose, and he can't handle it. Right into the hands of a frustrated Keith Ergo, and Kyle Rose turns it over to the Davidson Wildcats. 16:24 to play. Davidson the lead, 31-24, and the ball.
And Rose just nonchalant trying to grasp the ball. You got to squeeze the pumpkin there. You're down by 7 points, and it's a playoff game at that.
Cochera dribble drive down the right side of the lane, and the righty finish off the glass and down. That'll bring Cochera to 16 on the contest. That's a game high, and Fordham's only got 24.
It's not North Carolina, but Cochera seems right at home here in Brooklyn.
33-24. Davidson the lead. Here's Elijah Gray. Post move from the right block, and he traveled. That one was obvious. Sean Logan, the sophomore, held his own down low, and it's going back Davidson's way. It's 32-24. The Davidson Wildcats lead by 9, 15:53 to play here from Brooklyn, and the Fordham Rams going to need to get the offense going if they want to play in round 2 tomorrow. But we're going to take a quick break here from downtown Brooklyn. 33-24 Davidson. You're listening to Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hey guys, it's Nick Palmer, your New York Islanders beat reporter for the 2023-2024 NHL season. Tune into my Twitter at NickPalmer55 for live game updates in addition to pre- and post-game analysis. To get updates on all things Isles, follow me as the Blue and Orange try to bring another Stanley Cup championship to Long Island.
.53 to play in this Tuesday morning matchup from Barclays Center. The Fordham Rams trail the 13 seed here on day 1 of the Atlanta 10 tournament, the Davidson Wildcats. And who just checked off there was Abdu Simbila, got knocked in the face. We're going to now be joined by the third member of our crew, Kris Pursiainen, and see if he's got a word on the issue.
Thanks, Miles. With Abdu Simbila, I think it's just a case of getting hit hard in the face. There was some blood on the shirt, on the jersey, you name it. But the athletic trainer, Becca, we know she's all over it like white on rice, Miles. She got to Abdu right away, cleaned up that jersey, and he seems like he'll be good to go. Also, want to point out his guy, Yole Akuovo, being part of the crew that ran over to check him out. If there's not something there that talks about Fordham, Ramley, I don't know what does. Back to you, Miles.
And thank you for that, Kris. It was a family affair as soon as Abdu Simbila hit the deck. You saw a pretty emotional Keith Earl rush over to him, give him some words of encouragement. And Abdu Simbila does have another year of eligibility, but over the last few years, he's become one of the main characters under Keith Earl. Of course, he was brought to Fordham from Penn State when Keith Earl got the associate job over Neptune. Those two have quite the relationship.
And of course, it was moving to see Yole Akuovo go over there in the fashion that he did. Yole was not in the ball game. He was on the bench and just kind of ran over towards Abdu Simbila, who was still on the floor at the time. That just goes to show you the two guys have that sort of relationship on this team.
Absolutely right, Colin. Taking a peek at our latest box score. Fordham 2 of 14 from range. Still not a clip that's going to cut it in the postseason, but two positives for you. They've forced 13 turnovers, and they've made 6 of their 9 free throws. That's Fordham basketball in a way, Colin.
They're trying to muck things up, but for Davidson, it will come down to can they take care of the basketball and how many of those turnovers were of their own volition.
So back underway here from Barclays Center, 15:45 to play. Davidson and Grant Huffman at the top of the key. Swings it over left side, Cochera. Cochera, the dribble drive and the aggression once again with the right hand. Connor Cochera up to 18 points on the day. It's a 35-24 Davidson advantage.
So much of college basketball in the month of March is about who gets the hot hand. Right now, Connor Cochera has that hot hand for Davidson.
Kyle Rose kicks it up top for Charlton. Charlton, two-hand overhead pass back to Rose. Rose probes in on the left side and flips it straight into the hands of Sean Logan. Back-to-back turnovers here for a frustrated Kyle Rose. Here's Grant Huffman at the top of the key. He'll swing it over to Bobby Durkin, the freshman. The lengthy freshman leans in on Dean and kicks it up top. Here's Adam Hunter. Back on the handoff, here's Grant Huffman at the top of the key. Now just 9 seconds to shoot. Grant Huffman dribble drive the right side of the lane, and he'll get it to go with the righty scoop. off the glass and down, make it 37-24. Davidson picking up right where they left off offensively.
And without Abdou Simbila, that leaves guys like Elijah Gray and Romad Dean forced to take on center responsibilities. They're not used to having that sort of sensibility in the paint.
14 and a half to play. Kyle Rose lobs it down low for Elijah Gray, and he's fouled from behind on Sean Logan, so that'll stop the clock with 14:28 to play. Davidson on top, 37-24. The Fordham Rams just cannot seem to get the offense going. 24 points with 14 and a half to play.
It's not been a good start to this second half from Fordham whatsoever. Nobody has really gotten the hot hand for the Rams in the way Coach Era has for Davidson. They're going to have to start looking and seeing who could be that option.
Kyle Rose, right arc three, no good. Short off the right side of the iron. Ramad Dean the rebound. Finds Richardson, back to Dean. Dean, dribble drive, the rise with the right hand, and he's no good. Strong, he got his own miss, though. Over to Will Richardson on the right side perimeter. Richardson probes in on the right corner, has to reset now. 13 seconds to shoot. He's at the top of the key. Gets it over to Medor. Medor draws two defenders, top of the circle, pulls it back from 15. No good. Strong off the heel, but another offensive rebound into the hands of Will Richardson. He'll kick it down low for Kyle Rose, stuck in the right corner. Rose angles his way to the top of the key. Dribble drive down the heart of the lane, and he's fouled now. Kyle Rose will head to the free throw line, looking to end an 8-0 Davidson run in the last 3 minutes. And Kyle Rose has been awfully silent today. Rose 0 for 6 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, and these will be his 2 first free throws of the contest.
Rose scoreless, of course. He had the ball in the corner on that possession, Miles. Looked as if he could have gotten off a 3, didn't have the confidence to go up and take it. Did draw some contact and gets to the free throw line, but when you're struggling shooting the basketball, sometimes it's better just to try and play within yourself and not overthink things.
So the lefty free throw falls for Kyle Rose. He gets into the box score. It's 37-25 now. Davidson the lead. One more lefty free throw coming for Kyle Rose.
Rose has only 14 points over the last 2 games against Davidson this year. 5 of 16 total in those 2 regular 16.
No good, but Medor gets the rebound and smashes it off the leg of Sean Logan. What a crazy sequence there. In and out on the free throw, but Fordham tosses it off at Davidson, and now they'll have another chance, College.
Perhaps with a second wind here for Fordham, you have to take advantage of the opportunities you're given.
Left corner, Kyle Rose, dribble drive down the lane, rises, he was looking for contact, he won't get it. Ramad Dean, offensive rebound, kicks it out to Richardson. Richardson, right corner, 3, and he gets it to go. Off the bounce and down, and back within 9 now. 37-28, Davidson the lead with the ball, 13:30 to play.
Will Richardson now 2 of 3 from range. Perhaps he's starting to heat up a little bit.
Connor Cochera now kicks it over, and gets it back at the top of the circle. Over to Grant Huffman, lefty slot. Over to Sean Logan, the skip pass, Brizzy, right side triple, and Angelo Brizzy right in rhythm. And you see the collective groan from the Fordham bench there. It's a 40-28 Davidson lead.
Not a good sign if you're a Fordham fan. Davidson starting to move the ball eloquently. Brizzy wide open on the right arc.
The masked Richardson, top of the key, swings it over for Dean. Left arc 3, Ramad Dean, no good. Solid closeout there from Hunter Adam. Jaffe Medor going for it, has the last touch on the far sideline. And he'll be going back the Wildcats' way. 12:50 to play. It's a 12-point lead for Davidson, 40-28.
Looks as if Kyle Rose is going to check off for Fordham, so an interesting choice from head coach Keith Ergo to take out this team's emotional leader.
Interesting to say the least. Here's Angelo Brizzy, backcourt, swings it over to Connor Cochera, and Cochera will cross the timeline on the far side. Here's Grant Huffman, chest pass up top for Brizzy, moving it around the perimeter, back to Huffman on the righty slot. 15 seconds to shoot. Grant Huffman finds Reed Bailey, back to the basket, and he traveled. Turned it right back over to Fordham there with 12:32 to play, and quite literally took 2 steps before he took a dribble.
And Huffman hurting his team's own cause there. If you're going to get on a run, though, Fordham, now is the time to do it. You cannot allow this Davidson lead to balloon anymore.
Here's Medor, looking to do it all himself, drives down low and kicks it out right side. Richardson, and he got it. Right side 3 out of Will Richardson. He had 1 in the first half. He's got 2 as of late, and Fordham back within single digits, 40-31, 12-11 and ticking. Here's Reed Bailey, finds the cutter down low, the rise with the right hand, and Hunter Adam the reverse lay off the glass and down, and Davidson heating up offensively, 42-31, 12 flat to play. JaVale Medore angles his way to the near side perimeter, down the lane, rises, and he's no good. Tapped out of play down low by Grant Huffman. Last touch, Davidson. So the possession will stay here with the Fordham Rams. And with 11:51 to play, that will take us to our under 12 media timeout. Davidson 42, Fordham 31. And we'll now send it back to our Rose Hill studios for a scoreboard update with Lou Orlando.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
Fordham-Davidson, the earliest game of today's D1 slate. Oklahoma State and UCF, the only other active game. That's the first round of the Big 12 championship. Two more A10s coming up later today. LaSalle versus GW at 2 p.m. URI versus St. Louis at 4:30 p.m. It was just announced Derrick Henry signing with the Ravens, joining that high-powered offense led by Lamar Jackson. And we've got some baseball news. Bad news out of Yankees spring training. Garrett Cole got an MRI yesterday because of arm fatigue. The results yet to get back, but Aaron Boone just announced that it is unlikely Cole will be ready for opening day regardless of MRI results. That report coming from Brian Hoke of MLB.com. The Yankees have re-engaged in trade talks with White Sox starter Dylan Cease. And Mets legend Darryl Strawberry suffered a heart attack last night and was hospitalized. He is in stable condition and announced via Instagram that he is recovering. With the one-on-one scoreboard update, I'm Lou Orlando.
42-31, Davidson on top here at day one of Atlantic 10 tournament action from Barclays Center. It's 42-31. Davidson leads the Fordham Rams, but a good time to be joined by our sideline reporter, Kris Pursiainen.
Thanks, Miles. I'm going to take it to the stat sheet, one of our favorite things to do, and it's the turnovers for me, Miles. You take a look, and Davidson's got 14, Fordham's got 10, but when it comes to points off of turnovers, Davidson has more than Fordham. So given the fact that even though the Rams have gotten 9 more shots off in the first half than Davidson and 3 more shots off in the second half thus far, they're not capitalizing on these opportunities as we spoke about earlier. They're not capitalizing on the turnovers that they're forcing. Most simply and harshly put, they're not making their shots. We'll see if they can turn it around. They're going to be running out of time quite soon. Back to you and Colin. Thanks again.
And both sides, their turnover numbers ticking up here from Barclays Center. Fordham has turned the ball over 10 times. And as you said, Kris, Davidson up to 14 turnovers, but Davidson has scored 11 points off the 10 turnovers, and that's a really credit to Davidson's defensive effort. They've turned the ball over, but they've locked down Fordham so well they haven't really had to pay for it.
You know, it's funny to hear Kris use the expression, the clock is ticking, or some variation of that. The clock has been ticking this entire time for a Fordham team that keeps on reiterating the fact that they've yet to reach that full 40 minutes of Fordham basketball outside of that one game against UMass.
11:51 to play. The Fordham Rams trail by 11. Abdou Simbila has just checked back in. Coming off the blood issue earlier on the jersey. Finds JaVale Medore outside on the left arc. Swings it over to Richardson. Richardson, right arc three. Will Richardson, no good. The heat check that time. Strong off the right iron. Connor Cochera the rebound. Now pushing left to right. Cochera already got 18 points to his name. He's been a bit of a Ram killer all year as he swings it over to Hunter Adam. Down low for Cochera. Cochera rises from the right block, and he kisses it in off the window. 20 points for Connor Cochera. It's 44-31, and the kid is having a field day.
And that time, Cochera just cut from the elbow and worked his way right back towards the basket. Someone has to stop him once he makes that initial cut. You can't let him get that far in towards the paint.
6'5", 205, and he uses that frame really efficiently. Super strong. Here's Medore down the right side of the lane, and he gets it to go. Off the window and down, and now the left ankle seems to be turned of Grant Huffman. And we'll see a referee on the far end. Some words with Grant Huffman. And Huffman can't seem to put much pressure on his left foot. Of course, he's a key piece for the Davidson Wildcats at 12.9 points per contest. He's their leading scorer with the injury of David Skogman. And, of course, he's their point guard to boot.
If Huffman stays in this game with that sort of ailment potentially, and you never want to speculate, it limits what he can do offensively.
So it looks like he is okay. He jogs back gingerly, hands off for Angelo Brizzi, and Brizzi will cross the timeline. 10:50 to play. Angelo Brizzi down the right side of the lane, no good. Well short on the righty scoop. Antrell Charlton the rebound ahead to Medor. Medor looking to go coast to coast. Fordham in transition, and he gets the reverse to fall. Use the rim nicely to protect the shot. And it's 44-35. Fordham back within 9. Here's Huffman, top of the key, 10.5 to play. Huffman right down the lane, rises, and it'll be Abdou Simbila late on the rotation, committing the foul. So Huffman now coming off the little ankle turn will head to the charity stripe. 10 minutes and 30 seconds to play. Colin, in what could be the final 10:30 of a couple Ram careers.
And that's a gutsy play on the part of Huffman. It did look as if his ankle was bugging him just a little bit. To have the courage to go up with the ball and not knowing exactly how you're going to land, quite gritty.
So Huffman is good on the first of 2. That's his 10th point of the contest. It's 45-35. Now Davidson on top, and he's 2 of 2 from the charity stripe, 4 of 6 from the field. Pretty efficient.
This Davidson team has made a living in the paint today, and that's also resulted in some free throw opportunities.
Strong off the heel there. Josh Rivera the rebound, will head to Will Richardson, and Richardson the scoop lay right down the heart of the paint. Aggressive take there. Fordham within 8. The baseball pass ahead to Kochera. Kochera short on the lefty lay. Simbila clears the board. And now Will Richardson to walk it up. 10 minutes to play. Fordham a bit of mo. Here's Josh Rivera, the catch and the two-hand finger roll, if you will. Decided not to slam it down. Goes for the lay, but Fordham right back within just 6 points. 10 minutes to play, and looks like head coach Matt McKillop in year 2 will need the timeout. Fordham heating up here in the second half a tad. It's a low-scoring affair, but Fordham has made the last 4 buckets.
Smart judgment there from Rivera not to slam it home. And Miles, I knew you were leaning in the direction of fully expecting that slam dunk, but down by 6 points now, you cannot afford to be going for flashy plays. They've rarely worked for Fordham this season. The flashy plays that have worked for them have come out of nowhere and have been happenstance. You have to set your offense. You have to play a clean offensive game from this point on.
And Colin, if you remember, this Fordham Ram team shot just over 22% as a team in the first half. They're now shooting 29% from the field, and slowly but surely that number is rising. It's just tough going up against a pretty efficient Davidson offense. 17-35 for the Wildcats, good for 49%. I mean, the Fordham Rams are never going to sniff that number here with 10 to play.
And Davidson in the second half, 7 of 13 from the field. That's around 54% as opposed to Fordham's 39% mark, roughly. Really, a lot of the chances that Fordham's been generating this half on the offensive end of the court have been a product of finding small space to work with and making the most of it. You think about the Jaffe Medor buckets that we have seen. It hasn't been the case that he's wide open or anything like that. He's just been able to find a sliver, a crevice, if you will, to work with, and he's finished at the hoop.
Absolutely right. And it's a fun scene here. We just had the full court putt for a trip to Myrtle Beach. He did miss a few feet right, so no trip to Myrtle Beach. But here at Barclays Center, as you can imagine, there's a pretty decent crowd of kids here. Kids Day, field trip day across the New York City area. But outside of that, as you can imagine, Colin, not all that many people. It's a pretty early tip.
Well, 11:30 on a Tuesday. Most people are working, as we are at the moment, Miles, I might add. Just so happens we get to work at a basketball game.
But you're exactly right. Most schedules can't conform to this, but matchups throughout the afternoon here in the Atlantic 10. After this one, it'll be LaSalle, George Washington, the 2 p.m. matchup, and then at 4:30, Rhode Island and St. Louis. Of course, all these matchups fighting for a spot to play tomorrow. The winner of this Fordham-Davidson contest will play the 5 seed VCU tomorrow at 2 p.m. on USA Network. Of course, the Fordham Rams, a bit of a run back within 6. That's not out of the question yet, Colin.
And I know it's not the sexiest matchup of the day, but don't sleep on that Rhodey-St. Louis affair. Both of those teams have struggled mightily throughout the course of the season. Both of them have been underestimated. They feel in their heart of hearts they can go on a run. That's true of all these Atlantic 10 teams. None of them feel like they're out of it because everyone can beat everyone at this stage in the game.
So Fordham heating up a little bit offensively speaking. Head coach Matt McKillop at Davidson forced to whistle for the timeout. It's 45-39. Davidson on top. 10 minutes to play. Angelo Brizzi, the backup point guard, now to walk it up on Will Richardson, number 14 in red. Angles his way into the right side perimeter, hands off for the freshman, Bobby Durkin. Durkin at the top of the key, gets it back to Brizzi. Brizzi probes from the right side, hands off for Cochera. Cochera, right side three, much too strong there. And Will Richardson, the last touch on the far sideline, going for the rebound. So it'll stay here with Davidson. 9:45 to play. It's 45-39. Davidson the lead.
This feels like another one of those swing possessions for Davidson where if they can generate a bucket, they would certainly feel more confident than if Fordham was able to get a stop here and then generate something on their offensive end.
Brizzi kicks it up top for Huffman on the A10 logo. 12 to shoot. Huffman draws two defenders. Looks for the pass, and Will Richardson, the recovery off the Abdu Simbila screen. Will Richardson drives into the offensive half and finds Rivera left side mid-post. Kicks it back up top for Jaffe Medor. Medor restarts the possession now, 20 seconds to shoot. Davidson leads by 6, 9:15 to play. Medor, top of the circle, angles his way to the right side, kicks it back up top for Will Richardson. Now 9 to shoot. Richardson at the top of the key, pulls back the dribble, hands off for Charlton. 5 to shoot, over to Rivera, left arc three. Josh Rivera rattles it home, and Fordham back within 3, 45-42.
And you've got yourself a one-score game now, Miles.
8:55 and ticking. Angelo Brizzi, the baseline drive, and he got it poked free. Grant Huffman recovers in the backcourt, and he'll restart now at the top of the circle. 15 to shoot. Kicks it over left side for Angelo Brizzi. Brizzi, swing pass over to Durkin. Right arc three. Bobby Durkin, no good. Strong off the heel, and Jaffe Medor the rebound. Fordham trails by 3. 8.5 to play. Medor, dribble drive and straight into the hands of Angelo Brizzi. He was looking for Josh Rivera, but the pass was picked off. Angelo Brizzi up top for Sean Logan, the 6'10" sophomore. Back to the basket now with 20 seconds to shoot. Hand off for Grant Huffman. He'll bounce it back into the hands of Sean Logan on the right perimeter. Inside now, Angelo Brizzi over to Cochera. Cochera backing his way down on Jaffe Medor, and he'll draw the contact. Jaffe Medor, just a little bit of a size mismatch. Cochera, 6'5", 205, and of course, Medor does not compare to either one of those categories, so he'll have to commit the foul on the floor, but the possession will stay here with Davidson.
The only way that that's a great one-on-one matchup for Medor is if Cochera puts the ball on the floor and tries to dribble out of the situation, but did a good job keeping the ball high after 1 or 2 dribbles. There's no way the smaller Medor could outduel him there.
So it looks like Medor will check off. Now the 5, Kyle Rose, Will Richardson, Antrell Charlton, Yole Akuovo, and Ramad Dean. Here's Sean Logan at the top of the circle, flips it into the hands of Bobby Durkin. Durkin stuck in the corner now, chest pass over to Hunter Adams, top of the key. Hunter Adams swings it over now, left side, it's Grant Huffman, the point guard, fakes the 3, drives in on Will Richardson now, has to pick up his dribble from 10, the extra move, and it'll be Ramad Dean swatting it back. They'll call the goaltend, and the bucket will count. 47-42. The 2 points will count for Grant Huffman. 7:51 to play. We got another media timeout on our hands. We're going to take a quick break here from Barclays. Davidson 47, Fordham 42. 7:51 to play in what could be the Rams' final game of the year. It's a win or go home. This is Fordham men's basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, my name is Ryan Rucco, WFUV class of 2008. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One-on-One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV sports.
And welcome back in courtside here at the Barclays Center. Davidson on top in round number 1, 47-42, 7:51 here to play. The Fordham Rams have made their last 5 shots. The offense heating up. We're now going to be joined by the 3rd member of our crew, Kris Pursiainen.
Thanks, Miles. The key for the day for Fordham has been capitalizing on the opportunities that you create for yourself. When you take a look at the offensive rebounding column, the Wildcats have gathered just 4, while the Rams have corralled 15. However, the points in the paint column tells a different story. Davidson has 28 points in the paint to just 18 from the Fordham Rams, showing that despite Abdou Tsambilla and even Yole Akuwobo's prowess inside today, the Wildcats remain dominant on the interior. The perimeter play of Will Richardson in the second half has truly helped Fordham surge back, but will it be enough? We'll find out in these last 7 minutes and 51 seconds. Take us through it, fellas. Thanks so much.
Chris, thank you so much. And Colin, as you touched on a couple minutes ago, it really seems like Davidson has made a living down low. 28-18, destroying the paint points. But it's not even the big guys. Connor Cochera has gotten inside. Grant Huffman has drove inside. The guards got these dribble drives time and time again.
Their guards have excellent wingspans and excellent length to them. Cochera has been absurd today. 20 points, 7 of 13 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 4 of 4 from the charity stripe. Also has 2 steals. And even someone like Grant Huffman, only 12 points, but 4 assists. That's a major, major stat. I know it's only 4 assists, but the way he's been able to orchestrate the offense might not show up with those assist numbers, but he's been critical for them.
So just 7:51 to play, and Colin, you can feel the tension starting to brew a little bit. One of these two teams is going to have their season ended at the end of this game. Here's Antrell Charlton to walk it up now, moving right to left in the whites. 7:43 to play. Charlton, top of the circle now. Angles his way over to the left side perimeter. Finds Rose stuck in the left corner. Cochera applies the pressure. He'll dish it back up top for Will Richardson. Richardson pulls up from 15, and he's nothing but net on the mid-range J. Fordham right back within 3. 47-44. Brizzi at the top of the circle now for Davidson. Angelo Brizzi, the Nova transfer, bounces it inside for Sean Logan, the sophomore. Back to the basket, picks up his dribble, 15 seconds to shoot. He'll bounce it in the hands of Bobby Durkin. Durkin back to the basket, right side mid-post. He's got to pick it up. Finds the cutter over in Hunter Adam. Adam the extra pass to Cochera. Now just 4 seconds to shoot. They'll find Brizzi. Left arc 3. Brizzi well short, and Kyle Rose the board. Kyle Rose pushes into the offensive half. Now 6:53 to play. Fordham trails by 3 with the basketball. Here's Medora. Over right side for Richardson. Richardson dribble drive, and he loses the ball. Over to Durkin now in transition for Davidson on the right side perimeter. Up top now Cochera. Extra pass. Hunter, left side 3, and he got it. Right in rhythm. Hunter Adam there, 50-44. Davidson back on top 6.
And someone has to pop out on that on the Fordham defense. You cannot let him be that wide open from the corner of all places.
Hunter Adam the triple, and now Davidson up 6. Here's Antrell Charlton, right elbow now will pick up his dribble and get caught and bounce it into the hands of Ramad Dean. Dean top of the key, he'll hand off for Richardson. Richardson top of the circle, 3 no good off the heel, but Will Richardson mighty aggressive in the second half. Connor Cochera clears the board, and up top now for Brizzi. Brizzi at the top of the key, the mismatch on Yole Akuovo. Angelo Brizzi picks up the dribble, leans in now, and someone else has to have a mismatch. They'll find Bobby Durkin, and Antrell Charlton immediately reaches in. A careless foul 30 feet from the basket. And that'll stop the clock with 5:50 to play. It's a 50-44 Davidson advantage. And now that shot clock will reset at 20.
And you understand the Charlton foul there, but you have to be more disciplined than that. Obviously, he's trying to make something happen, force a turnover, get on the break. But if you're Fordham, you can't afford to let the fouls creep up on you here.
And Davidson hasn't gotten a field goal before that 3 in 2 minutes. Here's Brizzi, gets caught at the right side forecourt and finds Cochera. 7 seconds to shoot. Here's Hunter Adam, dribble drive down the right side of the lane. Extra pass into Sean Logan, and there'll be some contact down low. Jameer Tripp, Ramad Dean, and Yole Akuovo were all far too aggressive. It'll be funny to see who they give the foul call to, but Sean Logan will draw the foul down low, and he will head to the free throw line with 5:33 to play in this one. Davidson 50, Fordham 44.
And that was a precise feed from Adam to find Logan right there. He knows that if he gives it to Logan, there's a high probability that Fordham is going to foul, and his teammate will get an opportunity at the line.
So Sean Logan misses the first of 2 free throws off the left side of the iron, and Logan who's been thrusted into this starting lineup amidst the injury of David Skogman, their leading scorer, down low, and he rattles it around and out. An 0-2 trip for the 6'10" sophomore, and Fordham catches a break into the offensive set. Here's Sambila down low, under the basket, rises, and he's got it to go. Two-hand finish off the left side of the window, and Fordham within 4 now, 50-46. Brizzi has his pass poked down a play by Kyle Rose. It'll stay here with the Wildcats, and we got some substitutions. Now Reed Bailey, who is the Ram killer throughout this year, will check back on number 1 in red. As Hunter Adam will check off, Bobby Durkin off as well. And now Cochera back on this court.
And Jameer Tripp back in for Fordham, I believe. The freshman getting some late minutes in a playoff setting.
50-46, 5:10 to play. Here's Huffman at the top of the key, a 4-point lead for the Wildcats. Connor Cochera, the star of this one. Dribble drive from the left side, picks up his dribble, dumps it down low for Reed Bailey, and Bailey gets the contact from Josh Rivera. Clean hesitation. And now he'll head to the free throw line. Reed Bailey, who actually set a program record the first time these two faced off in made free throws. He was 11 of 11. Now he's back to the free throw line.
Doesn't get much better than that, Miles. Drew contact. Rivera was going for the highlight block. Would have been better off just planting his feet, staying in front of him, not leaving his feet at that.
And naturally, nothing but net there for number 1 in red, Reed Bailey. He's having a slow day today. 1 of 4 from the field. That's his first free throw. And he's good on the second as well. Make it 52-46. 5 minutes to play. And now Jaffe Medor to walk it up. And Colin, it feels every minute that passes, energy intensifies.
Davidson not pressing on defense at all. They're going to let Fordham shoot themselves out and wear themselves out.
Medor on the left side perimeter, dribble drive, and it's swatted back. Reed Bailey gets the block, but it's kept here on the offensive board. Here's Josh Rivera, dribble drive down the left side of the lane, and he'll get it to go. Fades in and floats it in off the left side of the window. Fordham once again within 4. It's 52-48. Huffman at the top of the circle, wanted the contact, lost his footing, and finds Bailey. Chest pass over left side, and it looks like we got the timeout of the Davidson bench. Grant Huffman is getting bumped and bumped again by Kyle Rose. He wants the foul call. He's not getting it, and now he's having a far side chat with the referee, but Davidson whistles for the timeout here with 4:23 to play, and Fordham within 4, and this is really striking distance for the Fordham Rams. No field goals the last 3:28 here for the Davidson Wildcats.
Without question, this is Fordham's chance. Additionally, Huffman walking gingerly on that right leg, not putting a great amount of weight on it. He is walking of his own volition, obviously, but not as swiftly or crisply as he was to start this game, Miles.
Absolutely right. And Grant Huffman, it doesn't get more key than him. 12.9 points per game, their leading scorer. And Huffman, it's an interesting situation. He's on his 4th year with the Davidson Wildcats, but of course, Davidson just a college and not a university, so they don't have any grad program. So interestingly enough, before the year even started, Grant Huffman hit the transfer portal for the end of this year. It'll be fun to see where he ends up following his very impressive Davidson tenure. Of course, we had that joke with Keith Thurgo in the elevator about, hey, we'd like to grab him out of the transfer portal, but don't think that he's going to come. This is a player who might be destined for a top 5 conference, a Big East type conference.
Well, talk about betting on yourself, Miles. Basically a 1-year walk deal at that, equating to what's going on in professional sports. Everyone's a free agent every year now at the collegiate level too, it seems, and that's becoming more and more of a trend. Players getting more power throughout sports, both collegiate and professional. Certainly will be interesting to see how Davidson rebounds going forward. They've been a program that's been decently consistent. Are they winning the A10 every year? No, but they're always fun. They're always frisky. They've always got a good amount of depth. Obviously, this year, one of their leaner years in terms of depth, but you can see by how top-heavy they are. At one time, that was their depth.
Absolutely, and head coaching-wise, it's head coach Matt McKillop taking over for his dad, Bob, who was the head coach for 33 years, really built Davidson into what it is today. But Davidson has had a 500 record or better for the last 22 years. As you said, Colin, consistency, the name of the game. They're not winning the A10, but they are an awfully consistent, solid mid-major. And now it looks like we are back, set to get underway. It's Davidson basketball in the offensive half. 4:23 to play from Barclays. Grant Huffman draws the double team and now kicks it up top for Logan. Logan finds Kochera, now back to Huffman, right side forecourt. Over to Kochera, 8 seconds to shoot, and the Fordham Ram defensive intensity has skyrocketed, and the lob, no good, out of the hands of Reed Bailey. Jaffe Medora, the rebound, in the offensive half, and he's going to be fouled. Got slapped on the drive by Grant Huffman, so now just trailing by 4. Jaffe Medora headed back to the free throw line, 52-48.
That was a feisty drive from Jaffe Medora. Huffman, a bigger player than Medora. Huffman clocking in around 6'4", 190 pounds, as mentioned earlier, and that's on Huffman, just caught off guard by a charging Medora.
So Medora's had a tough day today, 2 of 12 from the field, but 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Will make it 3 of 3 there as he rattles it home. It's 52-49. Fordham within a sole possession. One more coming out of Jaffe Medora.
And Fordham is lucky to be in this game right now, and quite frankly, without Josh Rivera and Will Richardson, they wouldn't be in this ball game. Those two guys have combined for 25 points.
So Medora up to 8 points now. 4 of 4 from the charity stripe. And Fordham within 2. Durkin inbounds to Grant Huffman. Now 4 minutes to play. It's 52-50 Davidson. And Jaffe Medora's 8 all in the second half. Here's right corner, Bobby Durkin. Drives inside, will have to reset at the top of the key, and the pass poked free by Jaffe Medora. Last touch by Connor Kochera, and the Fordham Rams force a clutch turnover here. 3:47 to play, Davidson by 2.
And the Fordham bench likes that play a whole lot. Yole Akawovo waving the towel. They know they're right where they would like to be in a close game. Sometimes the more physical team comes out on top.
Striking distance. Here's Jaffe Medora. Bounces high post for Josh Rivera. Rivera step through with the right hand, and he got it to go. Off the window and down, and we got a tie ball game. 52-52, 3:29 to play. And Grant Huffman now to walk it up. He'll dish it over to the sophomore Sean Logan, top of the circle. 3:22 to play. We got a foul on the floor. Josh Rivera well away from the basketball. So I'll stop the clock with 3:21 to play. Of course, it will be free throws now with the bonus situation. Connor Kochera, the name, headed to the free throw line. 52 all, 3:21 to play. Fordham has fought all the way back since halftime.
And talk about the wrong guy to send to the line. Kochera 4 of 4 from the charity stripe so far today.
That was close. 2 bounces, but it did fall there. So earns himself the second free throw. 53-52, Davidson, 3:21 to play. And now Will Richardson set to check in off the next whistle. He's good on the free throw, and Will Richardson will check back in.
And he's checking in for Jameer Tripp. That's an example of Coach Ergo understanding who has the hot hand at the moment, who can do the most for them offensively at this given time. And right now, that's Josh Rivera and Will Richardson.
Richardson up to 13 points on the game. He's gotten it going from downtown. Here's Josh Rivera. Dribble drive down the left side of the lane. He's got to pick up his dribble. He'll outlet it back to Richardson. Richardson, he'll attack. Rise with the right hand, and he's well short, but they'll call the contact. Will Richardson got fouled as he rose, and now it'll be 2 free throws here for Will Richardson. 3:05 to play. It's a 54-52. Davidson on top.
And Richardson, had he had just a little bit more elevation as he rose toward the rim, we could have been looking at an M1 play, Miles. That was very, very close.
Some nice hang time, too. He was awfully close, but Will Richardson in the all-white tights, all-white long sleeve, and the clear mask will head to the free throw line here at Barclays. 3:05 to play. Fordham trails by 2 when he rattles around and down on the first of 2 free throws. Fordham within a sole point.
Will Richardson, only a sophomore. This has been a year filled with growing pains for him. 11 points, 3 of 10 from the field last time out against URI. Game in, game out, he seems to be learning more and more.
So Richardson, a 2 of 2 trip, make it 54 all with 3:05 to play. And Reed Bailey, the big man at 6'10", will now walk it up on Josh Rivera. Bailey crosses the timeline, dribbles left to right between the legs at the top of the key. Reed Bailey spins around, rises, and he got fouled. Clamored by Josh Rivera there. And now 2 free throws coming for Bailey, one of the better free throwers on this team. 54 all, 2:52 to play.
Coach Ergo not thrilled with that call, it appears, and Rivera just really couldn't get out of his own way as Reed Bailey did a nice job of charging right at him and going up for the shot.
And Reed Bailey, 80% on the campaign, rattles it in. Once again, 2 bounces before it falls, but a 55-54 Davidson advantage now. 2:52 to play. One more free throw coming for the Wildcats. Reed Bailey at 6'10", cans the second. Made an immediate impact last year, started every game as a freshman. Now as a sophomore, he's the star of this ball club when it comes to low post players.
And he's certainly come to play today at the Barclays Center, Miles. Without him, Davidson would be missing a severely good paint presence.
56-54. Here's Josh Rivera, trailing by 2. Dumps it down low for Kyle Rose. Skips it into the hands of Medor, and he leans in on Grant Huffman. And it'll be the foul on the floor on Grant Huffman. 2:41 to play. And Medor leaned in with his face into the face of Huffman. And now Huffman is on the floor holding his nose, and they will review. And I'm not sure if they can call any sort of offensive foul. It'd only be reviewing for some sort of hostile act. But with 2:41 to play, both sides to the monitor now, or both sides to the huddles, the refs to the monitor. 2 minutes and 41 seconds to play. 56-54, the Davidson lead. It looks to be, at the moment, Medor drew some contact on the floor.
It was a physical drive from Medor. Huffman went down like a sack of bricks there. Not much grace after the fact as Medor charged at him. That's really been a staple of his performance today. Only 2 of 12 from the field, but make no mistake, he's been driving towards the paint at will. He knows that he's going to find traffic once he gets lower and lower towards that basket. That time, Huffman right in his way. He bowled right over him.
And the Fordham Rams have lost 6 out of their last 8 games. Colin wrapping up the regular season ice cold, but of course that would all be put out the window were they to win today. This is the type of victory that rights a lot of wrongs.
And you need to ride the hot hand here if you're Fordham. You have to go with the guys who have gotten you to this point in this specific ball game. The inclination normally would be to go to some of your best players, but they have not performed well. Jaffe Medor, as already mentioned, 2 of 12 from the field. Kyle Rose has been ice cold, 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 3 from range. Joshua Rivera and Will Richardson have been the best Fordham offensive players today. Rivera, 6 of 7 from the field with 14 points. And of course, Will Richardson driving, slicing and dicing towards the paint at will. He's also been quite good. 15 points for him, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 6 from long range, Miles.
And Will Richardson really been the name to pick it up. I mean, 15 points, but it's really the aggression that's standing out. The way these quick cuts, he's willing to take the threes. He's willing to take the tough shots in a big spot.
And you speak to multiple people around the program. They all say similar things about Will Richardson. He's someone that wants that moment. Only a sophomore, but he wants to be the guy.
So just the foul on Huffman. It is Fordham basketball. Will Richardson dribble drive. The scoop is strong. Down low, Sean Logan clears the board and ahead to Grant Huffman. 2.5 to play. Here's Bobby Durkin outside on the left arc. Flips it inside to Reed Bailey. 2:26 now to play. Bailey back to the basket, looking to go to work on Rivera. Rises with the right hand, and he gets it to fall. 58-54, 2:18 and ticking. Medor to walk it up, pushing right to left in the whites. Medor on the A10 logo, leans in at the top of the key, pulls back the dribble now, pushes in, moving right to left, kicks it back out for Rose. Up top for Richardson, now 13 seconds to shoot. Richardson to reset, splits 2 defenders, kicks it out left arc, finds Medor. Medor, 7 to shoot on the left perimeter, back up top for Rose. Rose dribble, drive, and he gets it to go. Tough lay with the right hand. Keith Ergo wants to bottle that momentum, calls the timeout here, 58-56. A minute 50 to play, and Fordham back within a pair.
And man, did the Rams need that. Rose did a nice job of understanding where the Davidson defense was, found just a crevice of space, worked his way towards the paint, and sunk the layup. Now he has 3 points, still nothing to write home about, but the senior not afraid to take a shot in a critical moment.
And it makes sense, right? Longest tenured Ram ever, 140th appearance today. He's been awfully silent so far, but down the stretch, he's someone who's comfortable with the ball in his hands.
And without question, he could also impact this game defensively. Now Davidson will have a possession. They're up 2. You never know when the team that's leading is going to get a little bit nervous and make a pass that they ordinarily wouldn't. That's when someone like Kyle Rose could come up in a big way for Fordham.
And while the 2 games between these 2 teams haven't been competitive in the regular season, Fordham is awfully comfortable in these late game situations. A game winner against SLU, game winners throughout the year. Of course, Kyle Rose had the opportunity to win against UMass. He could not. But now with $1:49 to play in the first round of the A10 tournament, they just trail by 2. 58-56, Davidson the lead. Grant Huffman swings it down low for Bailey. Bailey rises and the 2-hand slam. Right back to a 4-point game, 60-56. 90 seconds to play, and Jaffe Medor will cross the timeline. And Keith Urgo wants another timeout here, burning through him in the final 2 minutes. But it's a 4-point advantage here for the Davidson Wildcats, 60-56.
That's a gut punch. Bailey now up to 10 points on the day. He's the 3rd Wildcat to reach double-figure scoring marks, and the way he did so, prolific. Just drove right towards the basket, received a wide-open pass, and slammed it home. That's demoralizing.
It sure is. And now the Fordham Rams in need of a bucket here in a game where they've only been able to manage 56 points. But as of late, Colin, you got to give the Fordham Rams credit. Their offensive numbers have skyrocketed in the second half. 22% from the field as a team in the first 20 minutes, now up to 34% for the game. And of course, coming off 22%, just to balance out those numbers and even it out at around 35% is quite impressive.
That's still not going to consistently win you playoff games. 35%, certainly a step up from where they were at halftime in this one, but that was not the goal for this Fordham team entering today. And Coach Urgo consistently saying in the lead up to this one that they're focused on the defensive end. Perhaps they should have been more focused on the offensive end because everybody knew they were going to come out and play desperate defensively. The question was whether or not they were going to be able to make some shots.
90 seconds to play. Kyle Rose flips it into the backcourt for Will Richardson. And Will Richardson will now start the possession. It's 60-56, Davidson. Richardson leans in at the top of the circle, swings it outside for Josh Rivera. Back to Richardson, top of the key. He drives in from the left side of the lane, and he's well short, but he got fouled. Will Richardson back to the free throw line. He's been the aggressor. Already 15 points to his credit on the day to lead the Fordham Rams. And now with 1:17 to play and a 4-point deficit, 2 free throws coming for the sophomore to Teaneck.
The Wildcats did a nice job there defensively of taking away the baseline from Richardson, but the sophomore had good understanding of where the defense was aligned, cut back towards the center of the court, and drew contact.
Richardson deeply bends the knees and rattles it around and in. Once again, 2 bounces off the side of the iron, some forgiving rims here in day 1. We've seen it on both sides, just hanging around the rim before they fall, but brings Fordham back within 3. It's 60-57, and Will Richardson up to 16 points, including 3 of 3 from the free throw line, and he's nothing but net on the second. And Fordham right back within a sole bucket. 60-58, 1:17 to play. Now we got the full court pressure, and Bobby Durkin, the freshman, to inbound to Grant Huffman in the backcourt. Now Grant Huffman across the timeline, left side forecourt. 1:10 to play, 60-58. Davidson the lead and the ball. Connor Cochera, he's got 22 to his name. He's got it at the top of the key. Dumps it down low for Bailey, and he loses control. Abdu Simbila with the steal. And Will Richardson now pushing right to left. Fordham trails by 2 with the ball. Kyle Rose back to the basket, right side mid-post. He'll swing it back up top for Richardson. And Richardson's been the hero here in the second half. He's got 17. He stands on the A10 logo, the knee-high dribble. Leans in at the top of the key, looking to drive in and do it all himself. Kicks it out left corner for Dean. Back up top for Kyle Rose. Now 6 seconds to shoot. Kyle Rose fades away from 10, and he's no good. Rattles it in and out, but Abdu Simbila, the offensive rebound, and he's rising, and he'll get fouled. Abdu Simbila relentless down low, and now 2 free throws coming for the Fordham Rams and Abdu Simbila. It's a 60-58 Davidson lead, and the shot clock is off. 26.3 seconds to play as Abdu Simbila will trot to the free throw line for a pair.
That was a professional-grade offensive rebound from Abdu Simbila. Might have just saved Fordham's season, Miles.
Very possible. We'll see if he can capitalize here at the free throw line. Simbila, 6 points on the day, 2 of 2 from the charity stripe on the afternoon. Rises and he's good. Brings Fordham back within just 1 point. It's 60-56 now. Excuse me, 60-59, pardon me. With 26.3 to play. One more coming for Simbila and an opportunity to tie.
Now, assuming Fordham makes this next free throw, assuming Simbila makes this next free throw, the Rams have to get back on defense. You know Davidson's going to be pressuring the ball, working their way up court. They have all the time in the world to work with, but they might want to catch Fordham snoozing.
So Abdu Simbila, one dribble with the right hand, spins it into the palm, rises, and he's no good. Off the left side of the iron, Reed Bailey the rebound. He's fouled down low, and Reed Bailey will head to the free throw line with 24.2 seconds to play. Abdu Simbila couldn't capitalize on the second of 2 free throws, an opportunity to tie there for the Fordham Rams. And now it will be free throws for the leading scorer of this squad, Reed Bailey, at the other side. Davidson 60, Fordham 59, both sides to the huddle. And it looks like it should be free throws, but they got the ball sitting at the opposite baseline, so it might just be the baseline inbound for Davidson. It was last touch for them. We'll have to wait to get the call from our far side referee, but regardless, it's either free throws or it is Davidson possession and a 1-point lead.
And regardless of outcome, as you mentioned, Miles, after that foul was called, Reed Bailey had a smirk on his face as if to say they are now in the driver's seat.
So you think it was a foul call, correct?
I do believe it was a foul call. I do believe there will be free throws here. Don't hold me to that. Don't put me on the record there. But regardless, Davidson very much now in control of this ball game. Fordham, either way, had they tied that game, Davidson still would have had, in theory, the last possession and a chance to win, in which case they would either win the ball game or we'd be in for overtime here in Brooklyn. Right now, if you're Fordham, you have to make a concerted effort once you get the ball back to get as many points as you can. Do not try and huck up a 3 for the sake of just chucking it up. At that point, see what you can get, methodically work your way through the final seconds of this game.
And the Fordham Rams, of course, 24.9 to play. Regardless, that's a eternity in basketball time down the stretch. We might have some fouling. We might have quite a bit of fun here in this 24.2 seconds. Expected to take quite a bit longer than that. 60-59 is the Davidson lead. It looks to be the baseline inbound for the Davidson Wildcats in the defensive half here. They'll have to go the distance, so they just said last touch Fordham Rams on the baseline. I was confused when they set the ball down on this end. Had to be the call here. But now the shot clock is off. It's must-foul time for the Fordham Rams unless they're able to get the turnover. Davidson 60, Fordham 59 with a chance to play tomorrow in round 2 on the line. Durkin, full court pressure working out so far, and it's the foul down low. Antrell Charlton fouled Reed Bailey. And the Fordham faithful can't believe the call. Just as Reed Bailey was losing the ball out of bounds on the near side, Antrell Charlton gave him a little shove to the back. And that's a call that's going to be remembered for a long time. But 60-59 is the Davidson lead. And Reed Bailey at 6'10", back to the free throw line with 23.8 seconds.
That's going to be a pass interference call, Miles. And Davidson's going to reap the rewards of that call here with arguably their best free throw shooter at the line.
Reed Bailey, 6'10". The front end of a 1-and-1 is good. And these front ends of 1-and-1s in college basketball, it does not get more high leverage than that. 61-59 is the lead for Davidson. One more free throw coming for Reed Bailey, and he's strong off the heel. Offensive rebound down low, and it's out of bounds. Last touch, Davidson. Bobby Durkin, the freshman, temporarily controlled the Davidson rebound. But now Reed Bailey, who's been so solid from the charity stripe, cannot make this a three-point game. It's 61-59 now. Fordham with an opportunity to tie or take the lead with 21.5 seconds to play. And, of course, the shot clock is off.
Those moments are heavy, Miles. Reed Bailey misses his first free throw of the game. Fordham with what could be their final chance to stay in this one and keep their season alive.
So Kyle Rose is the inbounder, finds Will Richardson, 20 seconds to play. Will Richardson rushes into the offensive half. Keith Urgo calls a timeout. And now 18.2 seconds to play. 61-59 is the Davidson lead. It's Fordham basketball in the offensive set coming out of the timeout.
Now the question remains, are they going to take the Jimmy Butler approach and go for the win, or will they simply try and play for the tie here, or is it going to be C, all of the above, just try and find an open shot, period? And with the way Fordham has shot the ball today, putridly, they should just look for whatever open shot they can get and try to get the ball into the hands of the offensive players who've been playing the best. That would be Will Richardson and Joshua Rivera. I would also add, if Kyle Rose happens to be open, you trust the senior to make that shot in that instance.
And the Fordham Rams, of course, very comfortable in these tight late-game situations throughout Atlantic 10 play. It seems it was the norm, particularly early in Atlantic 10 play. Win or lose, it was going to be within a three-point game. But now with 18.2 seconds to play and the shot clock being off, this is really the Fordham Rams season hanging in the balance. You have one shot here, and if you miss, you got to get the board. Given a Davidson rebound and an immediate foul by the Fordham Rams, one would have to assume this game is likely over in favor of the Davidson Wildcats. So Fordham comfortable in late-game situations, but this one is with the season on the line.
Davidson going with their typical five. Not making any major adjustments here. Cochera in the game, Reed Bailey as well, two of their main stars. So they'll have to make a stop if they want to advance in this tournament.
Rose, Charlton, Richardson, Rivera, and Simbila, the five out there for Fordham. 18.2 seconds to play. The shot clock is off here at Barclays. 61-59, Davidson on top. Fordham basketball. Will Richardson, right side dribble drive. He pulls it back. Kicks it up top for Charlton. Now 7 seconds to play. Antrell Charlton over to Kyle Rose. Kyle Rose, dribble drive, rises, and he's got it to go. Off the glass and down. 2.1 seconds to play. It's 61-61. The half-court heave is up, and we got overtime. 61-61. Kyle Rose hits it for the Fordham Rams to tie it up. And in round one here from the Barclays Center, we got overtime.
Miles, what I've been telling you, March can get pretty mad at times, and we are very early in a month that could be truly special. Fordham extends their season for at least 5 more minutes.
61-61. The refs will put 5 minutes on our overtime clock here from Barclays and Colin. It's a Tuesday at 1:46 in the afternoon. We got started here at about 10 a.m. and we got extra basketball. I'm happy. I know you're happy, but we're going to take a quick break here from Barclays Center. When we come back, overtime, win or go home. It's Davidson and Fordham live from Barclays.
Hi, this is Michael Kay, WFUV class of 1982. WFUV is your home for all things Fordham athletics, with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to our Saturday show, One on One. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Back inside Barclays Center, the music is extra loud for overtime. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Colin Loughran. We're now going to be joined by Kris Pursiainen, our sideline reporter.
Thanks, Miles. That shot for Kyle Rose could not have come at a better time. Frankly put, he was 0 of 8 to start this one, and now at 2 for 10, he's up to 5 points. All the Rams needed to force an extra period.
So it looks like Abdu Simbila in the center circle with 6'10" Reed Bailey. Simbila taps it back to Richardson, and the Fordham Rams the first possession here in overtime. 61-61, 4:52 and ticking. Here's Antrell Charlton at the top of the key. Kicks it over left arc for Will Richardson. Richardson crosses left to right and finds his man in Charlton. Right arc three, and Antrell Charlton buries it out the gate. It's 64-61 Rams.
Charlton with a crucial three. Not a three-point shooter by definition, but when you get a look that wide open, you have to take it.
Grant Huffman swings it over to Cochera at the top of the circle. 4:24 and ticking, and Kyle Rose picks up the pass on the far sideline. Rose the possession now, and he'll walk it up, pushing right to left. 64-61. Will Richardson content to milk some clock here, and the Fordham Rams a one-possession lead and the ball. They're in control. Richardson, top of the key, three, no good. Strong off the right side of the iron. Simbila, the offensive rebound, stuck onto the right block. Hesitates in, muscles his way, and he got it to go. Off the glass and down, 66-61, and Fordham up 2 scores here in OT.
What a play by Abdu Simbila. Puts the ball on the floor and bullies his way to the basket. Now that's some Brooklyn basketball right there.
Connor Cochera got the pass picked up. Richardson loose in the backcourt, and the two-hand slam. It's all Fordham to start overtime. Richardson got the crowd on their feet, 68-61. Matt McKillop and Davidson need a timeout. A 7-0 burst to begin overtime here in round 1 at Barclays.
Man, oh man, have the wheels come off the bus for Davidson. They were just about a minute away from winning this ball game outright. Fordham forces overtime, and now they're like shot out of a cannon or something to start this overtime period.
I'm shocked. I am shocked. And Kyle Rose, he kissed it off the glass to send us into overtime. Grant Huffman had the heave to end regulation. 61-61 was the score at the top of our 5 minutes, but now a minute 23 into overtime, and the Fordham Rams playing their best basketball of the day.
Now, if you're Fordham, you cannot let this be the peak of your play. You have to maintain that intensity and consistency on the defensive end. A Davidson 3 changes the complexion of this ball game. It would make it a 4-point ball game, and then all of a sudden, a stop here, a turnover there, and the Wildcats are right back in that driver's seat. So if you are a Fordham defender, you have to bring that same physicality, that same will to win. And if you're Davidson, you have to come up with a good offensive set, get the ball into the hands of one of your better shooters. Cochera has had a great game, 7 of 13 from the field, 22 points. That is a game high. I would look for him to get the rock at some point.
Will Richardson, a plus-minus of +14 in a game where the Fordham Rams lead by 7. He's been the absolute superstar. 19 points out of Will Richardson, 6 of 12 from the field. And now just taking a look at the facial expressions of these Davidson Wildcats. They're just as stunned as me, Colin.
It's the face of disbelief right now collectively for Davidson. They cannot believe what's unfolding in front of them.
Grant Huffman to push it up on the far sideline. 3:34 to play. The Fordham Rams lead by 7 here in overtime. Kyle Rose rises. He pokes the pass out of play on the near end. And now you got the Davidson Wildcat mascot under the basket looking just as stunned on his knees, Colin.
Not a happy camper right there. Davidson mascot. He's got some cool sneakers going on, I will say that much.
3:29 and ticking in overtime number 1, game 1, round 1 here at Barclays. Connor Cochera, top of the key 3, steps into it, strong off the heel. Reed Bailey taps it back. Huffman can't save it on the far sideline, and it's going back the Fordham Rams' way. 68-61 with 3:19 to play. And the Fordham Rams, after looking down and out at half, Colin, have done just an unbelievable job staying resilient.
And credit to Coach McKillop right now, keeping his Davidson team calm. Typically, coaches right around this time would begin to get a tad hot-headed, but he's cool, calm, and collected at the moment.
Will Richardson now will cross the timeline, lean in on Grant Huffman at the A10 logo. 3:05 to play. 15 seconds on the shot clock. 68-61, Fordham on top. Richardson, top of the key, starts the drive, rises, and he's swatted back on his own miss. Last touch, Davidson going for the rebound under the basket. It'll stay here with Fordham. 7 seconds to play. There's been just a couple special performances for Davidson. Kochera up to 22, Huffman up to 12, and Bailey up to 11. But all performances to forget were their season to end. Here's Rose, outside on the right perimeter, fades from 10, rises, no good. Strong off the heel, and Reed Bailey rips free the Davidson rebound. 2:45 and ticking ahead to Connor Kochera, right perimeter. Dumps it down for Reed Bailey, right side mid-post. Drives in on Abdu, rises with the right hand, and he's no good. Strong. Abdu Simbila the rebound, and Davidson still scoreless here in overtime. 2:30 into this one. And Fordham in control now, looking to punch their ticket into round 2 tomorrow. Antrell Charlton near side mid-post. Angles his way up top. At the top of the circle now, draws 2 defenders. He's caught, and Reed Bailey pokes it free. We got the jump ball called, and Davidson with the possession arrow, so it will be a forced turnover here with 2:16 to play. Fordham by 7. It's Davidson basketball.
Regardless of the turnover, time is most definitely on Fordham's side at the moment.
Kochera swings it over to Huffman. Huffman at the top of the circle, back to Kochera. Got to get scoring soon. Here's Reed Bailey, back to the basket, rises on the fade, and he's too strong. Over Ramad Dean, Kyle Rose will grab the rebound. Will Richardson now to walk it up. And Davidson looking down and out, scoreless for the first 3 minutes of overtime. It's 68-61 Fordham. Now Will Richardson leans in at the top of the circle on Grant Huffman. Swings it over right side for Antrell Charlton. Charlton back to Richardson now. Richardson draining some clock here, 97 seconds to play. It's Will Richardson, step back triple, left side, no good. Strong off the heel, but another offensive rebound into the hands of Ramad Dean. And Colin, that's been a key for the Fordham Rams all day. Dominant on the offensive glass. Here's Will Richardson, 10 to shoot, triple drive the left side. Swings it up top for Dean, and it's over the head of Dean and into the backcourt. Will Richardson commits a turnover there. 1:17 to play. 68-61. But Colin, barring a disaster, the Fordham Rams are going to live to see another day.
You need to keep up that defensive intensity. If you're Davidson now, you might be thinking about how to get a wide open 3. A 2 helps your case, but not as much as getting a triple.
Bobby Durkin, the 6'7" freshman, hands off for Huffman. Huffman 15 to shoot, a $110 to play. Huffman caught up, finds Kochera, top of the circle, 10 seconds to shoot. Kochera, dribble drive down the right side of the lane, the scoop in and out. Ramad Dean clears the board. 59 seconds in ticket, and Davidson still scoreless in overtime. Antrell Charlton looking to beat the full court pressure. He skips it in the hands of Will Richardson. Richardson, it's a scrum on the far side. Ramad Dean will recover. Keith Urgo calls the timeout. And now 47.1 seconds to play. Fordham 68, Davidson 61. Colin, this has been one heck of a morning.
Rams are most certainly in the driver's seat now. I'm not sure if either of us thought we were going to be saying that sentence at halftime, Miles, and you have to credit the play of Will Richardson. He's been phenomenal down the stretch for Fordham. 19 points on the day, 6 of 14 from the field, 3 of 8 from behind the arc, 4 of 4 from the charity stripe, and they caught fire at the right time. Sometimes it's about surviving and advancing. Fordham about to do just that.
And Davidson led at the half, 27-19. Fordham shot 22% from the field in the first 20 minutes. They just could not get a shot to fall. But now, 42 points in the second half, 7-0 run to start overtime. And Colin, these Fordham Rams are going to live to see another day. It's the far sideline inbound for Antrell Charlton. 16 seconds to shoot. 47.1 seconds to play. They'll lob it in the backcourt for Jaffe Medora. Medora bursts to speed in the offensive set. He'll angle his way to the right side perimeter. And he'll get fouled intentionally now. Grant Huffman, the intentional contact. Medora will head to the free throw line. 39.9 to play. Fordham by 7.
And it all comes back to free throws, Miles. We've spoken about it ad nauseum throughout the course of the season. You have to make your free throws to keep in games and to ice games. So Medora with a chance to further Fordham's cause. 2 made free throws puts them up 9 points.
So Medora, 4-4 from the charity stripe on the day, up to 8 points. Stands at the free throw line here in overtime, and he's no good. Off the left side of the iron, last touchdown low, Davidson. And Bobby Durkin, the freshman, freshman, so it'll stay here with Fordham. And Colin, these offensive rebounds, killer for Davidson. It seems they just can't wrap any sort of defensive possession up.
Fordham's been one of the best teams in terms of offensive rebounding in the A10 all year. It's been one of the more underappreciated aspects of their game, and come tournament time, it's about generating second and even third chances.
Will Richardson, the baseline inbound, finds Abdu Simbila under the bucket. Simbila can't handle the bounce pass, and we got the jump ball. Possession arrow keeps it here with the Fordham Rams. So a clock stoppage with 36.3 seconds, 18 seconds on the shot clock. Fordham once again on top, 68-61. And Antrell Charlton will be the trigger man under the bucket.
Abdu Simbila falling all over the place today. He has had quite the rough day physically.
Moisture all over the court today. I haven't said it yet, but we've had bodies hitting the deck all day. Antrell Charlton inbounds to Will Richardson and swings it over to Simbila. Can't handle it, but Richardson recovers. Richardson intentionally found from behind. Grant Huffman will commit the contact. The ball will bounce right below our crowd mic here courtside. And now Fordham back to the free throw line with 29.7 seconds. And Colin, if you would have told me we'd be 29.7 left in overtime with a 7-point lead for the Fordham Rams at half, I never would have believed you. The way this game shifted after halftime, pretty unbelievable.
And when we look at the box score tomorrow morning, or even just after this game in general, it's not going to make much sense as to how Davidson lost this game. They were the more consistent team throughout, but Fordham got hot at the right moment, and it made all the difference. They began to get offensive rebounds at the right moment, and it made all of the difference.
So Will Richardson stands at the free throw line. No good on the first, good on the second. 69-61, the Fordham lead. The shot clock is off. 27 seconds to play. Connor Cochera swings it up top for Bailey. Back to Cochera. Has to get a heave up. He's outside on the left arc. Finds Durkin. Durkin, top of the key. Triple. No good. Off the left side of the iron. Offensive rebound. Huffman outside for Cochera. The three-pointer is blocked. Cochera gets the miss back. Rises, and he'll draw the contact on the dribble drive on the left baseline. 10.6 seconds. And Fordham still a dominant lead, 69-61. And it'll be interesting following these free throws if Davidson decides to intentionally foul.
Now, mathematically, if you're Davidson, you need to make both of these free throws to keep in this ball game. If you miss even one of them, it's as good as over.
Cochera no good off the left side of the iron. He was 6 of 6 from the charity stripe today. Make it 6 of 7 with an untimely miss, and it's 69-61, 10.6 seconds.
And I'll come out and say it, Miles. That'll do it for this one.
No good. An 0 for 2 trip after 6 of 6 from Cochera. The intentional foul on Antrell Charlton, and the Rams can feel it now. They woke up this morning with an opportunity to play the 5-seed VCU tomorrow at 2 p.m. The only thing that stood in their way was the 13-seeded Davidson Wildcats. And Davidson landed the first punch here at Barclays. They led at the half 27-19. But Fordham, 42 points in the second half, an 8-0 run to begin overtime. And Charlton, nothing but net on the first of 2 free throws. And Fordham now leads OT 9-0. It was 61-61. We got 5 more minutes on the clock. And Fordham, a 9-0 run. Now 8.1 seconds to play. The second free throw out of the right hand. Antrell Charlton falls. 71-61. Fordham's largest lead of the day. Grant Huffman across the timeline, 4 seconds. Cochera, the reverse scoop play, brings him to 24 points with 3.1 seconds to play in overtime. 71-63. Antrell Charlton inbounds from Kyle Rose, 1.6 to play, and that's going to do it. The Fordham Rams will march on and live to see another day. They'll play tomorrow at 2 p.m. against the 5-seeded VCU squad. And man, oh man, Colin, after trailing by a heck of a lot, 8 points at the break, 22%, just an abysmal offensive half. The Fordham Rams rally back in miraculous fashion, and they advance to day 2 here at the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Davidson shot roughly 45% from the field. Fordham shot roughly 35% from the field, and yet the Rams won. Fordham now headed for a date with VCU in the second round of of the Atlantic 10 tournament. For those at home thinking VCU is a powerhouse, and they are, remember when Fordham played them at the Rose Hill Gym, they only trailed by 1 point at halftime in that one. Anything can happen. Anyone can beat anyone in March, Miles.
Anything can happen in March. And Antrell Charlton on the back of Will Richardson, firing up, saying this is our time. The Fordham Rams had an underwhelming season, to say the very least. It took them months and months to get their first Atlantic 10 home win of the campaign, but now a win on day one of the Atlantic 10 tournament, and the season lives to see another day.
And the true irony for all of Fordham's talk about it being about the team, at the end of the day, it was individuals stepping up that made all of the difference. Josh Rivera with 14 points, Will Richardson with a team-high 19 points on 6 of 14 from the field, 3 of 8 from downtown. Still a lot of work to be done, but definitely a step in the right direction.
And we're now going to be joined by assistant coach Ronald Ramon. Coach, we didn't think we were going to be courtside today. Last time against North Texas, we were up in the rafters, so we got a little different mic set up. I hope you can hear me this way. I mean, just an unbelievable win. The first thing that stood out was Will Richardson to me. I mean, this kid was unbelievable. His plus-minus at one point, is a 5-point game. His plus-minus was plus 14. He leads the team in aggression, offensive output the whole day. What did you see out of the kid out of T-Net?
Well, first of all, you know, Davidson is a great team, so we knew they were going to come out here and play hard. They play so hard, man. They compete all the way to the end. We knew it was going to be a battle. Secondly, I think it's our defense. You know, we've been playing great defense. We just haven't been able to score the last few games. And I think today, in the second half, Will started a great game. He made his first few shots. But not only that, I think it came from his defense. You know, I think he played great in the first half defensively. And then right after that, shots started falling for him. We just got to continue to believe. Continue to believe every play, every possession, everything that those guys are putting into, man. I think it's an amazing attribute to everyone that played and everyone that is on the sideline cheering their teammates. So I just think it's an overall effort as a team.
Coach, that second half went down to the absolute wire, and Kyle Rose struggled today, 2 of 11 from the field, 6 points, but 2 of those points sent you guys to overtime. What can you say about the confidence he had to go up and take that shot, despite it being a rougher outing for him?
Kyle had a rough match today. You know what I mean? I think Huffman is a great player. We knew Kyle gonna have to give us everything he had defensively, and he did. And we knew he wasn't gonna have the same type of legs, you know, being able to get under his shots, but he continued to play, he continued to be aggressive for us, and those two possessions that were huge, he came through.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Congrats on the absolutely huge win. Live to see another day.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
And have a great rest of your day. Hope you're able to enjoy the win a little bit before tomorrow. And that's assistant coach Ronald Ramon coming off the victory. The Fordham Rams will face off against VCU 2 p.m. tomorrow. Round 2 of the Atlantic 10 tournament. Colin, today was special.
And March is so unpredictable. Just when you think it's all but over, Fordham comes storming back to best Davidson, a team that they hadn't beat this year, a team that they lost by 10 or more points to twice over the course of the regular season. As we've been saying, Miles, one more time to send us home, anything can happen.
So in overtime, Fordham takes this one 71-63 behind a special performance out of Will Richardson, the sophomore guard out of Teaneck, New Jersey, off the bench with 19 points. And you could just see that look in his eyes. Today was going to be his day. But as we said, Colin, 2 p.m. tomorrow, round 2, VCU. Once again, for Are the Marbles. That's going to do it from us courtside here at Barclays Center. Our sideline reporter, Kris Pursiainen. He's been Colin Loughran. I'm Miles Grossman. Your final score, overtime, Fordham 71, Davidson 63. They will play tomorrow, 2 p.m. But with that, we're going to send it back to our Rose Hill studios in the Bronx for the post-game show with Chaz McAdams and Lou Orlando.
The one-on-one post-game report.
Welcome into the one-on-one post-game report. I'm Chaz McAdams here with Lou Orlando again, and we're happy in the studio. I mean, I am, to say the least. I don't want to speak for you.
You're right. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Vibes are great.
Fordham with the overtime win over Davidson, 71-63. Huge win, an electric overtime to say the least. Davidson only scoring 2 points. Fordham able to get 10 in there. a lot went down in that second half, but I think I got to give my flowers to Lou Orlando, the man with the crystal ball, the prediction maestro. You said Will Richardson was the man to watch in the second half, and that turned out to be anything but a lie.
I mean, wasn't he awesome in that second half? Hitting
Electric.
from deep, too, which is, I think, another thing that we talked about was the Fordham Rams might not need the 3-ball perhaps, but they certainly could benefit from it, and I think they did. But you talk about just the way that their plan of attack and just the vibe around the game changed in the second half, shooting 22% in the first half, and then second half in OT shooting 45.9% from the field, 40% from deep. They completely changed the narrative. They looked like a completely different team in the second half. They looked like a team that's backs were against the wall and their season's on the line, and they were.
They played like it 1,000%, and there's so many narratives in this game. Abdou Tambila going down in the first half, able to come back, play most of OT and most of the second half. A huge 9 and 10 from him. Love to see that. Kyle Rose coming off of a terrible senior night, his last game in Rose Hill, and not a great game tonight, and hitting that clutch overtime basket, that drive down the lane that he loves to draw contact with the shoulder and just lay it in off the window. So many good storylines. That's on the Fordham side. I want to talk Davidson a little bit and see what they did wrong. What do you think Davidson did wrong in that second half and also in overtime?
I mean, they were just so weak, I thought, in that second half about matching Fordham's energy. Like, it's about the 5-minute mark in the second half, the last 15 minutes or so, and then carrying into overtime. Fordham clearly carried an edge to their game. There was a jump that you could feel, just the speed they were playing with, the intensity they were playing with. I think it translated to OT when they go out on a 9-0 run and Davidson doesn't score until the final minute. Davidson doesn't ever have a response for that, and even when they get timeouts and this game gets down to the wire and it's tied, it never felt like Davidson was able to match it. And I look at the boards battle. They get out-rebounded 22-8 in the second half, 30-11 in second half plus OT, and they get crushed on the offensive glass. Fordham 11 offensive rebounds in the second half, Davidson 1. So they just got crushed on the boards, and to me, that's an effort stat. Like, I think we talk about that stat a lot as, look at all the chances that Fordham created by just running around almost like maniacs, scrambling for the ball, diving for the ball. I didn't see that same level of intensity from Davidson in the second half, and I think that's why you're talking about Fordham coming away with an OT win.
I mean, that it's just like there's nothing better than overtime basketball in March, man. I mean, that was an electric win. Will Richardson is that guy, huh? Keys to the kingdom. Go cook.
Well, no,
go cook on replay.
I mean, I was gonna give. We have to give Richardson his love too. I was gonna give a lot of love to Joshua Rivera, who sneaky is another guy I mentioned at the end of the first half. His first double-digit performance since conference play started, and he's a guy they needed to step up because listen, you talked about that shot from Kyle Rose. I think no ifs, ands, or buts around it. This was a bad game for Kyle Rose, but he makes a really athletic shot when it matters to send it into OT. But when you get 6 points from Rose, 9 from Charlton, and some of those coming late in the OT period, nothing from Elijah Gray in terms of scoring, you need other guys to step up. And today, that was Josh Rivera and Will Richardson.
Yeah, Elijah Gray playing a utility role for sure today, but, versus VCU, they could definitely use him, and I want to look forward to that a little bit. The Fordham Rams playing the VCU Rams, classic A10 Ram-on-Ram action at 2 p.m. on Atlantic Avenue in the Barclays Center. What are you looking at a little bit in terms of matchups for that game? Because that game's less than 24 hours away from tipping off.
It's crazy to think about, and I don't necessarily love the matchup for Fordham. What I get scared about is that you can't have runs like you had today. You can't have a first half the way you had today where you're not scoring and you're going scoreless for almost half of the first half. Like, VCU will take advantage of that and leap out to a big lead. Colin made a good point, right, that they were down 1 at halftime going against VCU. But look at the final score. You end up losing by 15. It's not impossible to play a good half against a good team like VCU. It's very hard to play a good 40 minutes against a team like VCU. And so it takes everything in you. It takes your depth players stepping up. I would venture to say that you can't get away with a game like Kyle Rose had today, or even the output that Antrell Charlton had today against the VCU. I think you need not just your stars to be firing on all cylinders, then you also need those type of performances from Richardson and Rivera again. So that's what makes, in conference tournaments, when you talk about these lower seeds, the upsets that much harder to pull off. It's all that stuff. It's really hard to put a complete game against a really strong and intense team like VCU.
I agree. I think we're gonna see
not to put a damper on things.
No, I agree. I mean it's a not a mismatch, but it's a 12 versus a 5. You know what I mean? And which when we come tournament time, that's upset nightmare. But
and I'll say the
tournament,
A10's at least I think 5 deep in terms of really strong teams. Maybe it's 4 deep, but I think VCU's definitely.
I would say
in that upper echelon. There are a lot of good teams in the A10 that can really. I mean. Look at it all year long, how competitive it's been. That when you get to the even a 5 seed, don't knock a 5 seed, right? That's really good basketball.
No, 1,000 and people like guys like Ryan Hammer, and even I saw Rothstein a little bit talking about how deep the A10 is. They saw Davidson having a Cinderella route. You know what I mean? To the A10 championship, to getting that guaranteed bid. Not anymore, because the boys from the Bronx came in and stomped all your dreams out. Sorry about it, not sorry. But I'm very concerned for Shulga and Jackson, because those guys can really get it done for the VCU Rams. But that tips off 2 p.m. Wednesday, March 13th, tomorrow at the Barclays Center. I think that's going to do it for us for the one-on-one post-game show. Just a couple of credits to roll off. WFUV Sports Director is Bobby Chaffardini. We had Miles Grossman, Kris Pursiainen, and Colin Loughran on the call down in Brooklyn. Julia Moss, sports manager, producer extraordinaire. Always great to have her behind the boards. For Lou Orlando, I've been Chaz McAdams. The one-on-one post-game show is a production of WFUV Sports.
You said you were gonna change.